everybody? Welcome on in for part 4, I think. Part 4, yes. Of our Alan Wake replay to get ready for writing the new script as part of our lore Bible. Everyone who's here, let's go ahead and do this. I love all of your input. You guys have been helping me get some additional notes and things to consider, so you're awesome. For anyone who's just finding this for the first time, just as a forewarning, this is not going to be a standard run of the game. We're going to be pausing a lot to look at multimedia content, which is going to include things from like the survival guide, the Alan Wake files, the comic books, stuff like that. So we're going to be pausing a lot. If you want to have just a straight run through, I do have a run of that on the channel already if you check the live stream playlists. But besides that, let's go ahead and get going. And yeah, sure, Trailblazer, Too Tall Tony, go ahead, ask anything you have before we get started. I am down to chat. Hey there, Aziz Hussein, welcome on in. Is it first time making it? Nice to see ya. Cats, yes, how you doing? Hey, hey. Oh, boy. Hope everyone's day is going well. It's been killer over here. Hey there, kitty. Summer finally hit the place, and it's not fun. You're real upset you missed the Phasmophonia Alan Wake event by a few days, and you're meaning to feast on it. I mean, anything Kielbasa Mage, you can find pretty much everything that's in the game. It's mostly just some manuscripts and a nursery rhyme puzzle. Then you can find them up on YouTube. And the actual gameplay, though, is pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie, though. Do we know that the clicker belonged to Alan's father? Sam said so in an interview. I mean, the story, it depends. It depends on what we consider the origin point of the clicker. Now, Departure states that Linda Wake received the clicker from her, I'm not sure, I don't think they've ever confirmed if he's the late husband or just ex-husband, divorced husband. No clue, I don't think they've ever confirmed whether he's dead or not. And that she got it from him and then gave it to Alan. So technically within the... If we can take that as she's just... Because she could be making up a story to tell Alan just to make him in there. But there's a line in episode 5 where she says, in order to give it all, like even more a magical power, so to speak, she said that it had been given to her by Alan's father. But again, we don't know if that's true or not. But let's just go off on the hypothesis that yes, it's true. That, if we consider the clicker to not exist before Departure, it's part of a retcon event, then who knows before the story is written. So Flourish, I wouldn't say Tom was his dad. The only reason why is because he was, Tom disappeared in 70 and Alan was born in 77, so it was a 6-year gap. There's a 6-year time gap going on before, from when he disappeared to conception. But not only that, 1976, I think there was an AWE in Bright Falls, but I doubt that has anything to do with anything. So it's really hard to say. Do you know Trial Evolution has a small Alan Wake map on it? Or just so you know, what is Trial Evolution? I don't even know what that is. 1 second. Like, I'm personally not on board with that. So Trial Evolution is optimized piecing, is a racing game. Okay. Yeah, it like, at least if we're going by logical stuff, I'd say no. I mean, I've run through hypotheses of whether or not maybe like Loki possibly would have been one of dad, or it can be just nobody. It could just be no one in particular, it's just somebody. But we have no idea. Do you think someone can use the Dark Place to change someone's family tree, like swapping out parents with a stranger? I mean, absolutely yes, because specifically with, I hate to go that direction, but it's way easier to claim that the father is a different parent and make that change, because unless you have direct evidence, it's kind of hard to tell sometimes. But you can make it very vague and ambiguous in a story to make it seem like someone else was the parent, or like you were secretly adopted, in which case, but who knows. Anyway, so unlike last time, I don't really have anything new to do at the start. So I'm just gonna grab my pack of notes right here. Drop it down, and the cat is up on the table right now. And let's get going. But yeah, as of right now, there's not enough information to actually say who Alan's father is. Any suppositions we make are just pure tinfoil hat theories at this point in time. Now there is.
You're gonna give me the manuscript, or you'll be sorry.
Hold on, I'll let him finish screaming.
Come back here! I swear I'll kill you if you hurt Alice. Do you hear me? Come back here!
I mean, I think there's probably more.
He had Alice, and he wanted the manuscript because he thought it held some magical power. But I had no manuscript to give him. I had to get back to Barry and figure out my next move.
I think there's more circumstantial data that you could make the argument that Alan might be a reincarnation, or at least bear the same essence, like spiritual essence, as Tom, even though he is his own person. Mostly because in this House of Dreams, Tom confirms that he created a baby universe, and the essence of himself and Barbara went into that universe while their bodies remained behind. So it really comes down to the question, is the universe we're playing in the one that Tom created, or is it the one that Tom left behind? And we'll get more into that when we get to the blog, when we get to the This House of Dreams blog. But it's technically feasible to say, hey, yeah, the essence of Tom and Barbara then reincarnated as, or entered the, like, pulled a Kingdom Hearts and entered a newborn body of Alan and Alice. But again, that's just, who freaking knows? That's not based upon anything other than it's possible for that to work, but there's no evidence for it to be that way. No, we didn't miss the page. We're just backtracking first because this is some secret stuff. Alright, so we have our next hidden cache, which is number 6, and that note is on page 83. So let's go do this. Alright, page 83. 76. Come on. Page 80, 81, 83. There we go. Alright, so what did Cynthia leave behind for us? Edith Wharton once said, "There are two ways of spreading light, to be the candle or the mirror that reflects it. Your toil is eased by the items contained within the chest in the waterfall grotto below Lover's Peak lookout platform." Again, Cynthia's very well read. Because this is ranging between, like, as we'll see, like, she quotes ancient Greek philosophers, modern authors, literatures, poets. She even quotes, like, politicians and stuff like that. It's kind of wild. Okay. So let's check that one off. And next up we are doing the manuscript, which was in the path. She was in love with the poet. I mean, fair. Would that make Scratch kind of like Xehanort? Okay, anyone else? Okay, maybe this is just me being me, but I'm a huge Kingdom Hearts fan as much as I'm a huge Remedy fan, and the fact that we had both Alan Wake and Aqua stuck in the Dark Place / Realm of Darkness for over a decade before being rescued, I just saw the parallel where I want, like, a crossover event where Aqua and Alan are just talking about their shared trauma. Just saying.
On more than one occasion, Alice had tried to explain to me how it felt to be afraid of the dark. To her, darkness wasn't simply the absence of light, but something more tangible than that. It was something you could touch and feel. Worse than that, it was something with a mind of its own, something malicious and malign. For her, things changed when they were wrapped in darkness. They turned into something else, something foreign. And nothing was safe or innocent anymore. I never really understood what she meant. Until now.
Don't give no more ideas. Okay, so question, is the game quiet, or is it just the narration? Let me see. Because I have the music maxed out right now. Like, I have all the audio files maxed out at the moment. Okay. So I just bumped open the game audio a little bit, but I'm going to turn maybe the effects And let me see the effects down and the music down a little bit. You can't even hear the music? I mean, there's not really music playing right now. It's mostly just background noise. The waterfall was loud. Okay. Just let me know. I'll make some adjustments as we get through. Whoa, let's not step off the cliff. That's not good. Also, before we get into this too far, there was a section in Alan Wake Illuminated, which is the art book. And it's basically, there's a cut content in this area where Alan accidentally accesses a location called the Bird Leg Grotto. And that's why I went ahead and did it here, because that's the Waterfall Grotto. Now, in the Bird Leg Grotto, he enters a dream sequence where he meets Barbara Jagger directly, and it's this whole huge thing. But again, it was cut before the finished product of the game. So, I mean, what I could also do, because I don't know if my voice is just too loud, I can lower my voice audio, if that helps. Yeah, neat but irrelevant. Exactly. I'm definitely louder than the game. Okay. Let me see. Because I did make a couple adjustments before stream, because I was listening to the playback and it sounded off during the last one. But let me know if this is a little bit better. Make it through the woods. And try not to step on the bear traps. So this location definitely has the poachers that were setting down the bear traps. They're all over this place, so it's most likely, if not the same location, but it might not be the same location that Max was injured at, but for sure it was set by the same people. We must avenge Max, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, looks like we got another can pyramid right here. Boom. Alrighty, so let's go see what Mott has to say about this one. That is going to be can pyramid number 3. And which will be on page... Oh, it doesn't actually show the page. I didn't write it down, but... Damn good coffee. Damn good coffee. Where is it? Damn good coffee departure. I know it's somewhere around here. Oh, no. Where's the can pyramid? Oh, there, a can-do attitude. There we go. Alright, number 3. Damn Wake's a reckless fool, but he needs coaxing. I left the can pyramid on the old barrel by the mill vista. That'll keep the precious author from straying too far. It's almost like he wants to keep him on a specific set path, but he's working under the direction of Hartman, so who knows? Yeah, Toby was killed by a random taken. It had nothing to do with the poachers. Hold on, there's something over here as well. So I know there's another manuscript in this area. Where is it? Am I crazy? Yeah, because I know there's another manuscript, like, right here. And I could have sworn it was, like, on the other side of the... Oh, there it is. There it is.
Sarah didn't care about the legal threats Wake's agent had made. She let Wake go without argument, because there was something about him she couldn't quite put her finger on. Something that reminded her of her father. She didn't think Wake would hurt his wife. Then she thought about the way he waded into Hartman, that hair-trigger rage flaring up without warning.
So what about Alan reminds her of her dad? But based upon the secondary paragraph, it sounds like Frank Breaker does not have that rapid mood swing just like that. Alright, let's head around. Now I'd have to wonder, did she come to that train of logic, or did Alan write her to think that? I mean, quite literally, he wrote her to think that. The question is, did she, or would she have otherwise thought that if he hadn't written it? Okay, we good. How much ammo? We have 2 flare guns, 34 shots, and 6 flares, so we gotta conserve for a little bit. Oh, shite! Fuck. I can't see anything! Okay. Let's just keep backing up. You are an asshole. Yeah, you too. You are a dick. Okay, let's head over this way. First. Alright, so this is the Poacher's Blind. This is the secret hideout that the poachers in this region set up. And the ones who likely set down the bear trap that injured poor Max. And these two guys right here are very likely the very same poachers. You know what? Justice for Max. Fuck you. This is for Max right here. Screw you. I mean, like, I was half tempted just to use one of the flare guns just to add insult to injury, even though it's not necessary. Alright. Alright, so there... Okay. When do you get the shotgun? I think, like, right now, Trailblazer. Literally right now.
The night had been one desperate situation after another. I was exhausted, and my body felt as though it had been chewed up and spat out. The flashlight was heavy in my hand, and each pull of the trigger sent a painful shock up my arm. But I was finally out of the woods, and things were looking up. That's when I heard the chainsaw.
Is it Ash? You know, that would be the best troll moment. It's the second that you actually hear the chainsaw, and guess who pops out? Not a Taken. Ash Williams. We have to have an Evil Dead crossover. Hell to the yeah. Oh no, we don't get a shotgun, we get a hunting rifle. Which, again, makes sense because this is the Poacher's Blind. This is where the poachers are at, so of course they would have a hunting rifle. Imagine Ash fighting the Taken Bear. Dude, Ash would totally kill it in this setting. Because not only... Because, like, okay... Let me, before we do the Thermos right here and do more Thermos lore. So I'm finishing up Season 3 of Fire Force right now, and it just, spoilers if anyone doesn't want it. I'm going to pause the game during spoilers. You can unmute it if you don't want to hear it. But frickin' Arthur Boyle's entire deal is that the more delusional he gets, the more powerful he gets. Imagine Ash Williams with how much of an ego he has and how delusional he is about his own abilities. Ends up in a place with Cauldron Lake where his delusions are then manifested. How do you think Ash would actually deal with the lake? Considering how much of an ego he has. It'd be funny as hell. Okay, we're back. Alright, so we got ourselves the cup. Now let's switch on over. So this is going to be on page... It doesn't tell me the page. I don't know why I didn't write it down. Alrighty, so where is it? Damn Good Coffee. I think it's this one right here. Number 26? 26, yes. We're still presupposing Rusty's infatuation with Rose and what the shrink calls plain object limerence, but what I call plain old crazy caused him to place these thermoses way out here. This one in the remote huts close to that plane crash is stretching this theory to its limits. Would he surf on his chainsaw? Dude, I don't even want to know what Ash would be capable of if his imagination manifested. What's object limerence? I did look it up, and I forgot. Let me see. Object limerence. So object limerence is a state of involuntary obsession with another person. The person you desire is called a limerent object. Okay. So it's basically you're being a creep. You're just obsessed with something. Anyways. Except I don't think that Rusty is that's his deal with Rose. I mean, Rose obviously reciprocates, just not to the degree of an actual relationship. But the FBI guy is trying to make it out like Rusty is just completely crazy stalkery type, which is not the case. I think it's more his frustration. Wait, where is this light taking me? Oh, never mind, that's why.
I had heard the plane fall. It made no sense. It was clear that it had just fallen here, but it was very old and obviously hadn't flown in decades. Looking at it sent a shiver down my spine.
Alrighties, we have a nice big plane crash. You guys ready for some lore about what this plane is? Because we have a lot of information about this darn plane. Alright, so there's some cut content in revealed in Alan Wake Illuminated, the art book, that there's supposed to be a scenario Alan actually came out and there were survivors of this plane crash that Alan helped get to safety. But then they flipped around and just kind of made it, nah, they're all gone. Is this the only physics puzzle? Technically, no. If you even call it, you know, physics. Oh gosh. I mean, like... Whoopsie. I mean, the mill we're going to come up to a little bit later definitely has some physics puzzles too, but it's not really a puzzle. It's just hit the thing and your path opens. Alrighty, so let's do this first, and then we will look at the other thing. Ah, yes, give me all the flares, give me all the flares. Okay, so this right here is hidden cache number 7, Zoe. So I moved the keyboard underneath my thingy that rolls out so she can't step on it again. Come on, Zoe. There you go, good girl. Alright, so this is going to be on page 86. Let's take a look. Okay, where are we? 85. 86. The Mallory people have the proverb, "Turn your face to the sun and the shadows fall behind you." The contents of this trunk hidden close to the crashed plane that claimed dear friends shall be your source of protection once more. Alrighty, so let's go you. And let's take a look at the airplane lore right here. This was published in July 22nd, 1970. So this was literally, I want to say, a couple weeks after Tom disappeared, Barbara drowned, and the Bird's Leg Island, or no, sorry, Diver's Island vanished into the lake. Again, written by Cynthia Weaver. Renowned academics confirmed dead in Elderwood plane crash. Local officials in Bright Falls said no one survived after the plane apparently struck trees and plunged into a thickly wooded canyon as it approached Watery Airport. So this was, if we're looking at the map real quick, so where we are right now, let me see. So we're right around here. So we're right around this area. It's the Lover's Peak. So yeah, we're in this space right here. So apparently the plane was coming in this direction, heading towards Watery. And they just confirmed that Watery has an airport, which most likely got retconned out of existence for Return because they make that town seem to be like it's about to go under. And if there's a airport there, then you would presume, hey, it's a big enough economy to deserve an airport. Unless we're talking about just like a private airport for like the people who live there and work there. But not for internet. Actually, you know what? That makes more sense than saying there's no, because there's probably not any like interstate airport, just local ones. Anyways, let's head back. Okay, weather conditions were described as thick, dense fog. According to eyewitness and longtime resident Carol Troop, again, there's Carol again. She just happens to always be around and always witnessing the weird stuff. This is like the third time, and I think her daughter ended up seeing something that happened in the 90s as well. I want to keep my eye on this family because they seem to be in the wrong place at the wrong time all the time. Okay, so according to an eyewitness of a longtime resident, Carol Troop, she heard the plane's engine sputter and then saw it pitch wildly before descending into the fog bank over the Elderwood National Park. Mayor Milford said the crash was the most tragic event in the county's post-earthquake history. The plane, a Gosling A550 twin prop seaplane, was carrying 3 passengers. She's a crisis actor? Dude, you know what? You joke, but that would not surprise me. Okay, it was carrying 3 passengers, 2 crew, including 2 crew members, and included Dr. C.D. Ward. So if you guys don't know your Lovecraft lore, Charles Dexter Ward was a character in The Curious Case of Charles Dexter Ward by H.P. Lovecraft, and the entire story with that individual is they kind of went crazy and became very obsessed with one of his ancestors and eventually got possessed by his past ancestor who was like an alchemist. And so Charles was killed and somebody else took over his body, and it was a means of immortality. Where you had a secret cabal of alchemists that would literally just possess other versions, either other descendants or people. I have to reread it again. So this person was named after that. Now, most likely that has nothing to do with lore. It's most likely just a reference. But anyways, and then who's the deputy chief seismologist from the University of Marple. And then we also have Professor Richard Halloran. If you know your Shining or Stephen King lore, that last name is also going to make sense. And fellow Randy College. So Richard Halloran is a fellow of the Randy College of the Preternatural Research, and Halloran's assistant is Mary Derleth. Now, Derleth is also a name that shows up in a Night Springs episode as the main character of that episode, but also a man named Derleth was also one of the writers that took over for H.P. Lovecraft after his death. So, like, there's just way too much weird stuff. So the Alan and Tom thing, I mean, potentially Flarouge, depending on how you want to interpret the ending of Alan Wake 2. But yeah, so, like, the people on this plane were definitely heavy hitters, but they came here specifically to investigate... Oh, actually, I'll just keep reading. Sorry. The crash comes 2 weeks after both Ward and Halloran concluded their separate field studies, promising incredible and shocking. So they came here specifically to investigate the volcanic explosion that happened when Tom vanished. They both promised incredible and shocking updated information on the recent submerging of Diver's Isle out of Cauldron Lake after the recent seismic activity. Professor Richard Halloran confirmed to this reporter that the evidence would change our perception of reality. Theory they were FBC. Well, I mean, it's possible. Like, we know, it says that Ward was a deputy chief of seismology at University of Marple, and Halloran was a fellow at Randy College. But again, that could be cover for FBC agents. Who knows? Who knows? Would change the perception of reality. It appears... See, the thing is, this is why I don't think that they are FBC agents, because they would not tell a random reporter, hey, this is going to change your perception of the world. The FBC are very secretive, and at this point in time... it's under the control of Broderick Northmore. Northmore is the director of the FBC in 1970. So, I don't think he was as close-lipped as Trench was about controlling everything, but I seriously doubt the FBC would just start talking to random reporters. So I'm going to say no, they're probably just locals. Zoe, please stop knocking things off my desk. It appears that both academics' dossiers and all field evidence has been lost. So, would not surprise... So... Okay, hold on. I can't read because the cat's booty is in the way. Treacherous terrain and severe weather conditions in the area are hampering recovery efforts. A local sheriff's spokesperson commented, "We've never seen weather so damned unpleasant. There's no way we can remove the plane from the crash. We will remove all evidence and leave the wreckage in the woods." Plus, he was a true believer of the board, yes. The first picture of the crash site deep in Eldwood National Park. So what we know is that they were researching the place. They realized something big about the nature of reality, so probably they tapped into secrets of Cauldron Lake. And then a weird weather event occurred and the plane crashed, and then all of the evidence of their dossier disappeared. Now, do we think that someone stole it? That after the crash and they recovered the bodies, they just stole all of their academic research for the purpose of keeping it hidden? No idea. Hey, Zachary, thanks so much for the donation. Dude, you're awesome. Thank you so much. IRL, the lake is based upon Crater Lake in Oregon, obviously, and the eruption that creates 1,000 years ago is one of the largest ever. Imagine that has to be powerful enough to do that. Scary. No, 100%. And that's part of the lore in the game, too, where it's been thousands of years old. I haven't looked into the exact situation about Crater Lake, but one of these days I do want to go up there and visit. Yeah, so they removed all evidence, meaning it got disappeared by somebody. Because it doesn't look like... Let's get back into the game so we can look at the wreckage in better detail. But it doesn't look like the thing caught fire. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think this plane caught fire after it landed, in which case maybe the dossier and all the information burned up? But it doesn't seem like there's really burn marks. It just looks like it's old. Look it up. There's stuff about natives and folk tales of entities inside the lake. Are you talking about Crater Lake, Marama? Yeah, it doesn't look like there's really a fire. Yeah, it looks like it clipped a tree, and that's really about it. So the paperwork would not have burned up. Most likely someone stole it. But then the real question comes down to... Was it a random freak weather storm that caused us to veer off course, or was the weather storm caused by something else? No, yeah, it'd look more burned. This just seems aged. But here's the funny thing. This plane literally, Alan just heard this plane crash. Like literally, it just crashed according to Alan's recollection. But it apparently crashed 40 years prior. So, most likely, this event may not have originally happened, and it was just written into departure that it happened. I mean, that's one possibility. So, and we know how these stories work, where the changes don't actually occur until after you read the page. So, if you were back one page in the story where Alan goes through the Poacher's thing, while Al is going to the Poacher's thing, the plane does not exist, because then you turn the page and it says, oh, there's a plane crash. Now the plane automatically manifests into existence. We see this in Alan Wake 2, where, for example, Ilmo doesn't know who Saga is at the beginning, and only after she goes to water, she's like, oh yeah, I know your whole life story. So we see a contradiction there, and it really comes down to things that are scripted in the story versus unscripted. Because unscripted events can still happen in the game, meaning it's not directly on the page of the book. And really it comes down to us to figure out what's scripted and what's unscripted. Okay. Oh wait, no. Oh, that's not good. Actually, he's not that bad. I just need to save some ammo here. Oh, you got in the way, you dildo. You just made me waste a whole flare. Dick. AWE hadn't properly started. No, the AWE already started Melissa. It's just that Ilma wasn't a character in the book who had the backstory of knowing Saga until that scene in Watery. Saga wasn't supposed to bump into him. She just randomly bumped into him while he was hanging out with the FBC guy. So that scene wasn't part of the story. Hence why his memory had not yet been changed. There he is. There he is. I mean, you can make the argument that the AWE didn't really start, I mean, full-blown until she put the heart through the witch's chest. Did the plane have a black box? I mean, I'd presume it did. But I don't know the regulations on, because that looks like a private plane that was charted, so who knows what the regulations are for that. Alright, coffee thermos. This is going to be on page 86. Okay, this is on... Actually, we're already on page 86. Rusty's taken the thermos fetish to a very limit here. The dogs finally found it up on the narrow rocky promontory overlooking that watery mill death trap. Unless he's hiding expensive whiskey in these damn thermoses, that roast better be a perfect 10. Alright. Alright, let's head over to the mill. Data recorders weren't required in private plates until the mid-70s. Okay. Thank you, Melissa, for the quick research on that. I do appreciate it. So it's possible they did not have a black box. I mean, they could have, but it sounds like it wasn't a requirement at that point in time. So this is actually a really interesting, like in at least the survival guide, I find it really interesting what the book says about these three right here. I dodged into it, you are a pendejo. Alright, let me get to safety real quick before we start looking at this. So in the survival guide, this may just be David Hodgson, who's the author of it, making a fun little allusion, but he mentions these three taken before the mill, saying that they were hunters that were taken in their prime. With an allusion, which is an allusion to the Night Springs episode of the two men that ripped the heart out of a third one and turned them into one of them. So one could almost argue that these three hunters right here literally had an overlap with that Night Springs episode. The service industry one. Yep, exactly, Marama. Because one thing I'm trying to do a lot more during this run-through is figure out who these people were before they were taken. Like the ones we saw up at the blind, those were the poachers. Down here we have three hunters. And we are constantly having to question, who are these people beforehand? Later, we're going to find some taken that were crewmen of the Captain Oscar, which is a fishing vessel. We'll see that at the beginning of episode 5. No, I don't think the episode was about them, because again, that's in Night Springs, and it's fictional, and it has different circumstances and a different location. I think it exists outside of a farmhouse, for example. But you have narrative echoes and overlap. Like, I wouldn't say it's an official overlap like we see in Alan Wake 2, but it definitely at least is a literary echo. For sure. Okay. Now, there's no reason for doing it right now, but we're going to go ahead and read another one of those missing manuscript pages from the Alan Wake files. I just have a note to read it right now. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, that tea tastes delicious. Okay. Boom. Alan Wake files. Let's go ahead and try to locate all those missing manuscript pages. Come on. No. Oh my gosh. No, that's volcanic. That's a newspaper article. Did I miss it? Where did it go? I don't know why this page is so laggy when it comes to scrolling. Could all the taken be overlaps of people from episodes of Night Spring? I wouldn't say all, no. I mean, you could argue specific situations, but no. Because those stories are so varied. But I do think they are overlaps with other things, or at least they echo to other things. I gotta be very specific, because an overlap is an actual pocket dimension, which that's not the case here. These are more narrative overlaps. Here we go. Jeez, that fucking took forever. Alright, so we're gonna read this one right here, which is a little bit waterlogged, most likely. I think that's why I put it here, because it's like, oh, the page fell into the mill. If Donnie Ray thought Darlene was going to fall for that, I ran out of gas. Nonsense. He had another thing coming. She had slammed the door of his 4x4 so hard it about cracked the window. She didn't care. Donnie Ray did, though, running after her, yelling who did she think she was. Darlene knew who she was. She was the one saying shove it up to Donnie Ray, which was why she lay hunkered down in the weeds, listening to the crickets while Donnie Ray thrashed around in the darkness, bellowing about what he was going to do to her when he found her. Crickets got real quiet. But Donnie Ray did not notice. Darkness boiled up from the trees, and he didn't notice that either, not even when it rolled right towards him. Heart pounding, Darling eased towards the road and started walking quickly back to town. She promised herself she wouldn't run, wouldn't panic, wouldn't give, and then just goes on from there. Is it always lagging or because you're streaming? No, it's just this one page for some reason. It's specifically this one page. Because the rest of this, let me see. Because this scrolls a lot smoother when you're looking at like the comic book, for example. Okay. There we go. So there's probably somewhere in the woods at some point we see the taken that is Donnie Ray. Okay. Let's go ahead and head in. We have some more manuscripts, and let's go. And some thermoses in here. That's almost readable. You know, we probably could, Marama, decipher out what was all written there. There's probably some like AI tools we can use to straighten out the waterlogged text, or just put it up in Discord, and I'm sure somebody will have a much better eye than I do.
The logging site was a mess. The modular office had been pushed off the cliff. Deputy Thornton climbed up from the wreckage excited, breathing hard from the exertion. Nobody there. It's weird. Don't you think that's weird? Bored, Mulligan let out a mighty snort. Hell, it's always weird, Thornton. Just a question of sorting out what kind of weird it is this time around.
And this gives us our confirmation that Deputy Thornton and Mulligan are aware of the weird stuff that goes on in town. You can now hear those in their actual voices, right? But yeah, we can confirm they do know what's going on with the town, which makes it funny that in return, they make it sound like they don't know anything, really. Magic isn't real, right? Yeah, exactly. But here, we know they know it's magic is kind of real. I mean, if you want to use the term magic or whatever. And again, their characters were heavily revised in return. I have a hypothesis that Scratch was just kind of being vindictive and intentionally screwed over everybody that had a hand in this story. Like he's intentionally just trying to screw everyone over.
When Barry saw the darkness attack the visitor center, it made him a believer. The men Al said he'd shot, they hadn't been just locals on crank. Somehow the world had changed. Like the channel had been switched without warning. You think you're watching a sitcom, and you're really watching a horror show. When the birds started attacking the cabin, Barry wasn't surprised, just terrified.
Most of the people in the area seem to know, if not acknowledge it, that there's something weird going on. I mean, it's fair. I mean, that's actually a really good way to put it here, too, is that the channel changed. Like something randomly switched. That is technically a retcon event right there. Where things are going perfectly fine one moment, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's crazy. Zoe, you really like sitting right in front of the computer monitor, don't you? Boom. Alright, so let's head on back here. Okay, so this thermos is going to be on page 89. And where am I at? Zoe, I need you to move your patoot. There we go. This relic needs either complete renovation or to be condemned. Personally, I take a blowtorch and axe to this rotting pile of crap. The splinter in my hand almost turned gangrenous. Rusty's coffee thermos fetish is getting beyond a joke. If he wasn't presumed dead, he'd be up on charges for not cordoning off this death trap properly. Okay, so yeah, it seems like they presume he's just a missing person case, and they don't, because there's no body. So there's no body, so yeah, fair. Fair. And for anyone who's wondering why there's a black screen while I transition sometimes, long story short, I need to click into the game first and then transfer the scene to get rid of the black screen, but if I transfer the scene and then click over, you're going to see a slight gap while the OBS tries to figure out what's going on. Just imagine how many missing person cases is going to come out of this place. I mean, remember that when Clay Stewart showed up in town, he flat out said that there was just like funeral after funeral after funeral after funeral. How many hundreds of people went missing? Is the Night Springs DLC canon in the sense that they were side stories Alan wrote his attempt to leave? Yes, Neapolitan. They are canon. They are not canon in that they're canon in the sense that they really happened. They, however, did not occur in the Prime Universe. They occurred in a pocket dimension. And the events of them can then echo out into this reality, which we see that. I have a whole series on the Night Springs episodes that talk about this.
Be aware of Widowmakers.
You beware of me. You know what? I don't want to deal with you right now. Oh, shit. That's my bad. And yes, the reason why it's taken forever is because we are playing Nightmare difficulty. Zoe, you want to go outside? Okay. 1 second, the cat wants to go out. Ugh. There you go. And swear. So how much you guys want to bet in 10 minutes she's going to be scratching to come right back in? Yeah, we have to play on Nightmare difficulty, Draco, solely because the certain manuscript pages do not show up on regular difficulty. Does the power of the lake keep outsiders from looking in too deep into all the missing people? No, not at all. I mean, Clay Stewart fully looked into the whole thing. Like, the only instance we saw is, like, the plane crash just now with C.D. Ward and Richard Halloran. We saw that happen, but we don't know if that was a naturally occurring storm that threw the plane off track or if something happened from the lake or from a creative mind that caused it, but we don't know.
Shadows stirred and the wind picked up as I ran through the forest. I felt the dark presence turning its gaze toward me. Then the moonlight was blotted out by dark shadows that raced violently across the ground, moving too swiftly to be natural. Darkness gathered between the trees and melted again to reveal the Taken. No natural path had brought them here.
That actually begs the question, given that Ward and Halloran claimed to have evidence from investigating Cauldron Lake and the volcanic eruption that would change their perception of reality, they must have had some kind of experience with the effects of the lake. I mean, they kind of had to, otherwise they wouldn't be able to make that comment legitimately. Something had to have occurred for them to figure that out. Do pilots have crashing dreams? I mean, I can almost guarantee that pilots have nightmares about crashing. I haven't heard anyone relate that to me, but I have heard it. But it would not surprise me. I'll just hang out right here. And I guess he'll just hang out right there, too. He's literally just chilling. Oh, wait, no, there he goes. I missed! How could you miss? He was 5 feet in front of you. What the hell? But yeah, so that begs the question, what did the two researchers find while they're at the lake, and what did they see? Do you think the Dark Presence would get a hold of Silent Hill, or would Silent Hill God Presence scare the Dark Presence? Oh, jeez. That I'd have to think a lot more on Trailblazer. You shoot the flare gun, then Mushu. Go ahead. Don't tell Alan to go home, he's drunk. He probably is. We know he has a problem. He legitimately has substance abuse issues, so who knows. Logging? Yes, it is. Hey there, Strike. So I do have a reaction to the initial Resonant trailer drop, but I have not watched any of the other trailers. Intentionally so. Oh my god, I am like doing nothing to burn this away. I try to go into, because I'm going to be playing it blind when the game comes out, and I don't like having more information than is necessary. But I do have a live reaction of the first one if you are curious. I have it up on the channel if you haven't seen it. No. And we're finally back up into the RV park. Civilization.
Barry?
Ow! The porch is covered with birds. They've got all Hitchcock on me.
Stay out of sight. I'm on my way. Don't open the door.
What am I, crazy?
Stay hidden. I'll be there soon. Just make sure you keep the lights on.
But since I've been seeing people get like advanced copy, well, not advanced copies, but they played it early at Summer Games Fest. I know there's details out there I really don't want to see.
At least I was out of the woods.
I actually almost went to Summer Game Fest this year again, because I went out there, I was at SMG the year they had the Alan Wake 2 trailer release. But I did not go this year. Okay, let's go ahead and check out that thermos lore. Mostly because I didn't realize when it was happening until like the week before, and at that point I couldn't get tickets. Page 90. Alright, there we go. My god, we've got some incompetence back in Seattle. They can't even trace the company that makes the thermoses. Not a soul within 500 miles has any goddamn records of a maniac going out and buying 100 of these suckers to leave dotted around the Elderwood National Park. The thermos in the campground could have come from anywhere. I hate my job. So the question is, did anyone actually make these? Who knows? Okay. More and more coffee.
I'd have to get the car from the locked garage. It would get me back to Barry faster, and the headlights were a welcome bonus.
So most likely a lot of the people who were living in these RVs probably got taken. Actually, now that I think about it, what do you guys think? Because we did read one of the missing manuscript pages about a guy and his wife and in-laws were coming up here. Were just sightseeing, and the in-law wanted to pull over and check out the sunset here in Bright Falls. Do we think maybe one of these was their RV? I mean, the only reason I would say probably no is because there's multiple families here in different RVs. It sounded like in the page they were kind of there in their own secluded area. But who knows?
I had to find the key to the garage. The FBI agent's command froze me in place. I considered surrender. It was all falling apart anyway. I could give in, let someone else deal with it. But it felt all wrong. Call it instinct. His posture. The way he held the gun. He was no friend. Shots ringing in my ears, I leaped for the hole in the fence and stumbled into the darkness beyond.
Oh, Nightingale. We will read a lot more about him as we go. Anything in here? I will take the rifle ammo and let's get out of here. Families, we only see adult take and no kids.
The garage key to get to the car.
There we go.
A story is not a machine that does what you tell it. A story is a beast with a life of its own. You can create it, shape it, but as the story grows, it starts wanting things of its own. Change one thing and you set off a chain reaction of events that spreads through the whole thing. The characters have to be true to themselves. The events need to follow a logic that fits the story. A single flaw and the magic is gone. The story dies. Alice dies.
This is probably one of my favorite one of these Writer in the Cabin episodes, because it really just gets across the point of what happens if you try to make a change. I mean, imagine, for example, if we get all the way to the end of episode 5, moving into episode 6, where Alan just magically gets the clicker as just like a freaking Chekhov's gun magical weapon. It wouldn't be a Chekhov's gun, it'd be a MacGuffin technically at the time. But anyways, if he had not set it up back at this point in time that, oh, as a child, he got it from his mother, and then he gave it to Alice, and blah, 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 blah. Because if he hadn't written that part of it, it would make no sense for just a random object to show up to be the saving grace. So those little details are important. Oh, sorry. You want to come out? There we go. A single flaw and the magic's gone. Yep. And that's why a lot of the times when I see a plot hole, for example, Mandy May and the other guy at the Valhalla nursing home arguing about when the cabin was built, they have different memories of the same event, which normally would be considered a plot hole, but in this case, it is evidence of a change in reality. It's evidence of a retcon event. But we'll see a lot more situations of that when we get to Alan Wake 2. Wait, did he not die from that? Okay, let's do this again. Rule number 2, double tap. Okay. So now this one's going to be on page 92. 92. See, I don't think it's the difference of some people are more susceptible to the story. I think it's more Konami. I think it's more, or KNO. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I think it's more that some characters are mentioned in the story and some characters are not mentioned in the story. Therefore, there are some differences. What is this? Is this some kind of damn game? Someone's just placing these things to mess with me. Or someone? Maybe someone else. Okay, that could have been phrased better. It sure feels like it sometimes, but for the record, there's no way this thermos could have been placed here until after the big rig jackknifed. But I guess I just bag and tag. Anything else is above my pay grade. So we don't know when this vehicle kind of fell over. But because of the positioning, yeah, I agree. It had to have fallen over and then someone placed it down. Hello there. Boom! Oh, I can barely see. Okay, we got a shack. Let's go. FBI dude's gonna quit after this assignment. Dude, if I got told... Honestly, I'd be perfectly okay with this whole thing. Oh shit, it's not. You know what, let's just save it. I didn't realize it wasn't even loaded. Because if I got paid to just hike around Bright Falls for a week or two on a scavenger hunt, I'd be having the time of my life. Just to be 100% honest. But then again, I love hiking, so that's just me. If bad dude's gonna have so much post thermo stress disorder. Oh my god, how many? Okay, I need to do this quick. Let's just get this and run. You know what? I'm just gonna run because I don't want to waste all my ammo. I think these might be like infinite spawns. Ah! That's a tree. And there we go. Okay, we're good. Goodbye. Let's get over here in the light. And we're done. Okay, we're safe. That's why Alice drives. He's a New Yorker. Yeah, no shit. All right, let me do some checkoffs. So we got you, we got you. Okay. So while we are here, we do have another canned pyramid. And let's see what Mott has to say. Oh yeah, we didn't read this. Okay, so this is for the last hidden cache. When you possess light within you, you see it externally, wrote the French author Anais Nin. A gift for those troubled by the darkness, bewildered on the path they are taking, and wish to truly see the light. And according to Mott, Emil needs the pages and he needs me to persuade our great author to part with them. I've left another subtle reminder on the picnic table over the corner pasture down from the visitor center. Yeah, but how is this supposed to make me want to do anything? Yeah, Draco does live in New York, so... I just didn't realize a lot of people drove over there. I thought it was mostly public transportation. Just because of how bad the traffic is. Okay, let's switch the vehicles just so we max out the health bar of the vehicle. It's too expensive. I mean, yeah, that's fair too. Let's avoid you, avoid you. Whoa, hi there. Let's back up real quick. Hey, 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 stop it, stop it. Get out of here. any excuse to save ammunition is okay on my book. In my book, I should say. Oh, trust me, Murama, I know. I know where all the collectibles are. I'm just trying to kill these guys before I get out of the vehicle. Okay, got another thermos. Let's go ahead and read that bad boy. And that is on page 93. It's the very next one. There we go. A thermos on a picnic table below the visitor center. We're getting word that more of these thermoses have been spotted in the trailer park out of town, the one Rose lives in. It's the lead. Perhaps we can get some reasoning out of her. Rusty's gone AWOL, and the little lady is not being cooperative for some reason. So this is after she had her experiences kind of nutso. Understandably so, though. All right. Oh my god. Alan, take a spinning class, get your cardio up. I swear, Mott's... Yeah, exactly, Vest. Mott's acting like a supervillain who really just doesn't know what he's doing. He's like, haha, I have all these machinations, but all of his machinations really accomplish nothing?
There was no misunderstanding. Cauldron Lake was where Alice and I had stayed. But there was no cabin, and no island. I was missing a week. What had happened to me? What had happened to Alice? I had to get her back. I couldn't face life without her.
Again, it really shows how codependent he is on her. Hard disagree, Dean. Amat's machinations accomplish him dying, being worn like a sock puppet and attacking Harmon. I mean, fair. I mean, like, the machinations of dropping down these beer can pyramids. Like, okay. Like, what are you trying to accomplish with this? Alright, so we're back up at the visitor center again. And I'm not going back over there because I do not want to see Max at all. He's trying to accomplish a blood alcohol level of I pop and foam if you get... You know what? Fair. You'd wonder how the Dark Presence would react to manga. I mean... We have comic books in this setting, so who knows?
The flare gun was probably the best weapon I could imagine against the dark things I was facing.
Beautiful. Alright, let's get going. Whoop! There's a comic in Watery's trailer. Yeah, there's also a comic in Watery's trailer. It was like some space sci-fi opera, right? I'm just trying to remember. I don't recall the specific details, though.
It was the kidnapper.
You son of a bitch! Where's my wife?
Enough horseplay, Wake. You deliver the manuscript, and you can have your woman back. Simple as that.
I don't... Listen. I'm gonna need time to finish it. I still need to write the ending. I need a week.
Not done?
I need a week.
2 days. The old Bright Falls coal mine is nearby. You can find it easy, city boy. The main building, there at noon. You bring the manuscript, you'll get your wife. If not, well, get me?
Yes, I get you.
The Dark Presence had touched the girl to lure the writer into a trap. Now it was night, and he lay helpless, drugged, lit only by the flickering of the TV screen filled with static. Shadows coalesced in the room as the dark presence leaned close to the writer, ready to touch him again. Back to work, boy.
Again, just some foreshadowing. And now that we're getting ready to do the birds, our Alfred Hitchcock impersonation here, we do have another article to read. Alright, so this is going to be on page 95. Now, this one might not be really relevant, but I still wanted to read it anyways, because it's just interesting. An unkindness of ravens. The biggest of all the family Corvidae, as big as an owl, and 2 times the dimensions of a crow. They tend to remain airborne longer than crows, soaring in thermals, and they're known for a variety of aerial assaults and antics. Crows usually reside at lower altitudes, while ravens seek higher climbs. The formations of a roosting collection occurring in many habitat regions, particularly in the Pacific Northwest, is known colloquially as an unkindness. Usually this indicates a flock of more than 100. Similarly, a group of crows is known by the collective noun murder, terms originally coined in the mid-15th century in the first color-printed book of medieval Europe, the Book Sikh. I don't know what Sikh is supposed to represent. The Book of St. Albans, which detailed such elements as hawking, hunting, and heraldry in some degree of complexity. The terms were then utilized by others' derivative tomes in perpetuity. Although speculation, it is hypothesized that a murder refers to the crow's tendency to feast on carrion, while unkindness refers to an erroneous belief that ravens remove their offspring from the nest, a complete falsehood. You're convinced how to differentiate raven from crows? I think ravens are a lot bigger than crows, to be honest. They are a different species.
Barry had talked about birds over the phone.
What's up, Barry?
Al! Al, I am so glad you're here. A couple of them got in here before I blocked the chimney. This isn't normal. These birds are weird.
And just so you guys know, randomly, there's another hidden cache here that was not here earlier. So while Alan was running around the woods, this cache got dropped here. Which doesn't make sense, considering we know Cynthia does not come out at night. She refuses to come out at night, so she didn't do it. But now they're here anyways. Most likely because the story said so. Oh my gosh, their health bars on Nightmare difficulty are ridiculous. We'll read the segment on the hidden cache as soon as we're done with the ravens. And this is why we save all of our flare guns. Yeah, man, so we got an unkindness of ravens here. Oh my god, let me reload first before you attack me again. Dick. You think that ammo response here might be misremembering? That's fine. I think there's some more on the front porch, but we don't really need them.
Barry, you can open the door now. They're gone.
Alright, they're gone. But let's pause and go ahead and read that hidden cache real quick. That'll be the one on page 95 as well. Here. The 49th mayor of Seattle, Norman B. Rice, said, "Dare to reach out your hand into the darkness to pull another hand into the light. A task I take with a great deal of pride and meticulous care. This chest is behind the wishing well in the back garden of Rusty's cabin." So, guys, what do you think would happen with wishing wells in this town? I mean, honest question. Like, how would it react? Wishing well behind cabin, Elderwood cabin. It's a monkey's paw? Oh, jeez. What water is the bottom of it? I mean, no, it's just the grass. There's no actual well here. Either that or Remedy just did not texture an actual hole because they didn't expect anyone to actually look inside of it. But even if they're not actually pouring it into water, you're still in the vicinity of this town and the lake making wishes. I'd say monkey's paw,
Al,
too.
I'm sorry for thinking you were having a psychotic episode, man.
I sent Barry to the town to ask around about a man fitting the kidnapper's description. He'd go through the archives of the local paper. Perhaps he could learn something. Anything about the island and the cabin that had disappeared.
Okay, before we continue on with this scene, I apologize. In the novel, as soon as Alan gets back, him and Barry and Alan just start draining a bunch of beers just to unwind. They just get sloshed. And then we'll wait for the next morning for the rest.
The man wanted a manuscript. I had to try to write him one to get Alice back. For me, the supernatural had always been nothing but a metaphor for the human psyche, a tool to use in writing fiction. Now, it was happening for real, and I couldn't put a single word on paper.
Barry Wheeler speaking.
This is Rose.
Rose?
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Oh, you sweet, brilliant girl.
Could you and Mr. Wake come get them? I live in the trailer park outside the town.
We'll be there in less than an hour.
I know.
See you soon.
Have a great day. Hope you come back soon. Welcome to the old
dear diner.
Good girl.
You guys ready for some Poe? Haunted. And given what happens in the Lake House DLC, something may be up with Samantha Wells possibly being the in-universe echo of Poe. Possibly. We have no way of knowing. Oh, the song? This is Haunted by Poe. Tsuko Dragon. And most of you probably already know this, but just in case anyone doesn't, Poe, at least the artist behind it, is the sister of the author of House of Leaves, and this entire album is like a companion piece to that book, which acts as a big inspiration for the entire Remedyverse. But there is some suggestion that Poe was kidnapped by the FBC and held prisoner inside the lake house, and may have a connection with Samantha Wells, which we'll read about in this House of Dreams. No, Wolf. No spoilers on Control Resonant. Yeah, and again, no spoilers related to Resonant at all. All right, so one more deal before we get into the next episode is in the novelization, and again, non-canon, but early this morning, the morning where we're currently playing through, everybody in town kind of came out to try to figure out what happened to Rusty. Because, I mean, it's Ranger Rusty. Everyone wants to try to find the guy who went missing. The running theory is that the earthquake that occurred collapsed a building on top of him. The thing is, they still can't find the body. There was a truck was run through the lodge, which we did see that, and an old timer mentioned that a spirit of a child-eating creature with a red robe was present. Who knows? Again, this is the novel, so it's technically not canon. And then Mulligan jokes that Bucktooth Charlie came alive and rampaged the place, which is another reference to that possibly being a thing. Now, my personal opinion on the whole Charlie came alive is that in this instance, I don't think that's what happened, but so many people are going to start talking about that. That's the second person we've heard referencing, oh, Charlie came alive and rampaged through the place. They're making up their own urban legend. And that means urban legends around the lake can become real later on. So even though that may not have been what happened now, in the future that could actually happen because urban legends are a thing now. Good job, guys. Good job, town. The House of Leaves will pray. Hey, what's up, Break? We're just enjoying some tunes, and I'm probably getting a copyright claim on this, but you know what? I don't care. It's a bop. Alright, guys, let's get this going.
Previously on Alan Wake, Alice has been kidnapped.
Alan, please help me.
Alice?
You'll do exactly what I say if you ever want to see your wife again.
I can't tell anyone except my agent Barry.
Damn it, Barry, they'll kill her. You're my best friend, and I'm worried that you're not right in the head.
The ransom is a manuscript I supposedly wrote that's coming true before my eyes.
It happened just the way it was on that page. So dark.
I have found only a few scattered pages.
I want the entire manuscript.
The deadline is in 2 days.
I found Mr. Wake's pages.
Good girl.
How the hell did she get her hands on the manuscript anyway?
I don't know. She's resourceful. I told you were too hard on her. Listen, I found out all sorts of interesting stuff while I was digging around.
Yeah.
Mr. Wake, it's Sheriff Breaker. We have an FBI agent here, Agent Nightingale.
FBI?
He's anxious to see you. You'd better come to the station.
Okay, I'll be right over, Sheriff. Let's make this quick, huh?
Okay, before we do this, sure thing, Zachary, I can read a story, but I gotta get through a couple things first, and then I'll read the story. Alright. So, after mentioning the whole thing with Nightingale right now, Barry immediately does what Barry does and starts defending his client. So he's like, hey, Alan, do you need an attorney? So apparently, Barry, at least in the novel, has access to several attorneys on speed dial, ones that have specifically sprung mafia dons out of lockup. Barry is so tied in, he literally has lawyers that have defended and got mafia lords, like crime lords, off the hook. Regardless of what you think about Barry morally as a result of that, he's tied into the good shit. Anyways, so now let's go ahead and read the story. We're now ready to read the next of Agent Nightingale's handwritten notes. Let's head over. Okay. So that's going to be in the Alan Wake files, and I think this is further up. Here we go. So we're going to be reading handwritten note for day 2. Alright. Johnny Law turns out to be Janie Law. Sheriff Breaker. Comes from cop family, knows diddly squat. Usual hostility to feds. Don't know whether to use honey or salt on this one. Don't know if I have enough honey in me. She did make the phone call I needed. Let's consider her pliable. Diner's a great place to get all friendly with the townies. They had a cardboard cutout of Wake propped up near the door. One of the waitresses is supposed to be a big fan. Hopefully that was good enough. When I talked to Sheriff Breaker later, she revealed a different point of view than the one Agent Nightingale expressed. So this is Clay talking now. So Clay went and spoke to Sheriff Breaker after the events of the whole situation. She believed their relationship Sarah and Nightingale's relationship was cordial and cooperative, so she's lying. The hostility he speaks of here may well reveal more about the agent's predisposition than any actual exchange between the law enforcement officers. Breaker would not comment on the nature of the call she was asked to make, and when I asked her about Agent Nightingale's current whereabouts, she turned around and wished me luck, our interview at an end. Sheriff Breaker not pleased to see Agent Nightingale's camera. So this is a photo that Clay took after the fact. Apparently he's using Nightingale's own camera that was left in the motel. Okay, so boom. Boom. Also, during this section, Alan has, at least in the novel, Alan has a conversation with Barry about, because he'd already gotten a manuscript page about Barry in the general store. Remember when he like grabs the crowbar and starts bashing the thing open and getting flare guns and the Christmas lights and all that fun stuff? Well, Alan asks him, hey, Barry, if you happen to end up in the general store and see a box of flare guns, just remember there's some crowbars right next to it. So he literally warns Barry about the story beforehand.
Help you folks? Name's Randolph. I'm the manager.
We're looking for Rose. Works as a waitress down at the diner.
Rose, sure. Nice girl. Who wants to know?
I'm Alan Wake.
The writer, huh? I heard on the radio you were visiting. Well, I'll show you her trailer. That Rose, she's a nice girl. Always pays her rent on time.
As I was saying, Al, I found all sorts of weird stuff from the local newspaper's archives. This place is crazy. Disappearances, mysterious deaths, urban legends come true, and get this, most of this stuff takes place around Cauldron Lake.
Well, you ain't wrong, mister. The Indians thought the lake was a doorway to the underworld. I'm the God-fearing type myself. I don't hold with that sort of thing.
Okay. So, according to the survival guide, Randolph has a great memory and listens to all the local stories, so he's kind of like a walking encyclopedia of the urban legends told around town. On top of that, you guys notice his limp. So, Randolph tells everyone that he got his leg stuck in a bear trap, and that's what caused the injury, and that's why it's an issue. He's lying. He actually just has a really bad case of gout right now. So he's not above just misrepresenting things to make himself seem cool. Also, according to the novel, Randolph moved to Bright Falls in 1980.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, there was an island there owned by a guy called Thomas Zane. Now, some of the articles I found about him make him out to be a famous writer, but I ran a bunch of searches, couldn't find a single thing he wrote. Zane was heavily into diving, so much so that the place came to be called Diver's Isle. But the volcano under the lake erupted in 1970, and Zane went down with the island.
Yeah, how about that? It was there in the morning, as if it had fallen from the sky. But it would take a tornado to lift something like that. We're damn lucky it didn't crush any of the trailers. Come on, mister. I'll take you to Rose's trailer.
Yes, that's correct, Marama. So he doesn't have any first-hand experience with the events of 1970 and the volcano exploding. He came in after the fact, so it's all hearsay for him.
Just follow me. It's not far.
Hey, let me get some thermos stuff over here first there, buddy. Chill, chill. All right, so page 97. Oh, in case you guys ever wonder about the music, we have Pat Main's Zoom right here, so we have a list of all the tunes as we go through the game. It seems Wake visited the Sparkling River Estates just before we lost him, but found Rose Marigold. I don't know what those two did to her, but she isn't cooperating. Yet we're still finding these coffee thermoses dotted about. This one was placed on the picnic table near the yacht. The yokels tell me fell from the sky. It's really Looney Tunes out here. God, imagine Looney Tunes. Imagine if there was Looney Tunes out here. Just saying, just saying. Okay. So before we continue on, actually, you know what? Let's finish this walk, and then I will switch back and do some other stuff. I think that's better timing. Barry, you want to keep talking? I'm sorry about your bear trap injury there, Randolph. Alrighty, so we got the hot dog, the chili dog, the corn dog, and the taco dog. We also got the famous dog, which is apparently the third best in town. The monster dog, big dog, and the belly burster.
I got things to do. This place don't run itself.
I want to buy stuff from you, dude. I'm hungry. I want one of the freaking belly bursters. We have Granny Claw's Clam Chowder, which is another name they use for Barbara Jagger, a.k.a. the Scratching Hag.
Mister, can we just get a move on?
Asgardian Chicken Parmesan, the Cauldron Lake Deep Fried Plate, and Zany Chicken Fried Steak. Interesting. You're recovering from a stomach ache and just reading Taco Dog made you get... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kilbasa.
It gets better. A local girl, Barbara Jagger, drowned in Cauldron Lake just a week earlier. They were lovers.
Sure, Jagger's a local spook story. The Scratching Hag comes for you in the dark. Childish stuff like that.
Anyway, Al, I'm just getting to the best part. All of the articles about this stuff were written by Cynthia Weaver. I asked around, and she's that crazy bag lady you met.
What, the lamp lady? She can be a little loopy, but she's not homeless or anything.
Yeah, anyway, she knew both Jagger and Zane before they both died, and she had some kind of a breakdown.
Isn't it kind of crazy that Rose kind of has the best one here? Because all the other ones are kind of like cramped up next to each other, but she has this whole area to herself, minus a playground for the kids with the sandbox and the tire swing.
Well, mister, this here's Rose's trailer. You mind me asking what you want with her?
We're just here to talk to her, pal.
Actually, you bring up a good point. Koname, Barry big timing this man for no reason. It's actually a character quirk that's talked about in I think the survival guide, that Barry hates being interrupted. So he's literally trying to like get something off his chest, and this guy just keeps interjecting. So he's getting more and more frustrated because he just hates being interrupted. Anyways, guys, we're gonna do some reading now. We've got a good deal of reading to do. So let's pause and head over. So this one's going to be from the Alan Wake files. And we're going to start up a new segment. Not the interviews. Where are you? That's Hartman's, the manuscript. We don't need the manuscript. Alan Wake's fiction. No, we don't care about that. So this is Errand Boy. Then this is the Return to Sender, which we've already done that. And remember, this entire thing was published alongside the game, so it was kind of like intended by Remedy that you purchased a copy of this and read it as you were playing the game. The unfortunate thing is most people didn't. And it's kind of unfortunate because a lot of Nightingale's backstory was from here. Alright, so we are going to start including sections from Bright Falls History. So the following article is taken from a larger work, Bright Falls History, edited by Conrad Breaker. So we got another member of the Breaker family here who apparently was a historian of the local region. Copies of the book can be easily located at the town's library or bookstore, but this chapter was found among Agent Nightingale's effects, cut from the book with a razor. When contrasting the content of this chapter to the rest of the fairly benign book, it is easy to see why it appealed to Nightingale. So, throughout the entire rest of the thing... Oh, hold on, let's read this top section. The History of Oddities in Bright Falls. This section was written by James Alvord, but again, it was collected and edited by Conrad Breaker. For residents of Bright Falls, a sleepy town of only a few hundred, strange events that may seem like an aberration in most communities of its size have become commonplace. Research into multiple Pacific Northwest news archives has revealed that the area has actually been something of a hotbed of tall tales and paranormal rumors, at least as far back as the 1850s. Some stories predate the official statehood for Washington when Bright Falls was a mountain community of native tribes mingled with the white American fur trappers and hunters who had ventured west into the Washington territory. I wouldn't say it's necessarily Sarah's great-granddad because we don't know when this was published. I mean, it could be an uncle, which I think it is confirmed that well, I wouldn't say confirmed, but Tim Breaker is Sarah's cousin, right? Meaning that she has to at least Frank Breaker has to have a sibling of some kind. So it could be an uncle that published it. There's no confirmation of the relationship. Okay, so the one we're going to be reading right now is about the Scratching Hag, specifically. And we'll go through all of these eventually, but not all in one go. Okay, the artist's conception of the glowing message. We'll look at this later. The Scratching Hag of Bright Falls. Some stories seem designed specifically to scare children. The legend of Granny Claus, the Scratching Hag of Bright Falls, seems to be a perverse twisting of the traditional image of the kindly old grandmother who will welcome youngsters in for a plate of warm cookies. Variations abound, but the core narrative mirrors that of Baba Yaga, an old woman who emerges from the forest at night, sometimes walking, sometimes flying on what appears to be a stone dish of some sort. The rumor is that she eats children, a detail of the story that resurfaces every time a child is reported lost. Her home, which has never been seen, much less photographed, by current town residents, is somewhere deep in the forest and is said to stand on giant chicken legs. This allows the house itself to change locations at will, making it impossible to determine a single location in the forest for her residence. And remember, originally in the game, the cabin was supposed to get up and walk around. But there was a section in Alan Wake Illuminated, I mentioned it already, but there was a cut piece of content where a kind of like a copy of the cabin showed up at Rain Cove Point over by the Cape Campbell. Or sorry, by Cape Campbell, and Alan and Barry had to get a seaplane and chartered it to that region and had to go investigate the cabin showing up randomly. So it just shows intention that you were supposed to find the cabin showing up all over the place in the game, but it got cut entirely. There are disagreements about her physical appearance, perhaps due to her penchant for darkness, but various versions all speak of unnaturally wide open eyes and extended claw-like nails from her withered old hands. If the weird eyes and claws weren't enough, she is said to carry an extra darkness around her, making night even darker. Not many people believe this legend, whereas the other paranormal phenomenon all have their true believers. This story is primarily perpetuated by parents who want to keep their children safe from the true dangers of the forest. It is also shared among children themselves who love a good ghost story, and as a result, the detail appears to have been changed and wildly elaborated on over the years. And again, because they keep telling the story in urban legend, it plays into the story we're playing now. In Alan Wake 2, they actually retconned this story. Most likely Scratch or Alan retconned it, that it was like a character who fell in love with the sheriff and the sheriff cheated on her, so she cut his heart out or something. So there's like a whole new huge backstory behind the Scratching Hag in the second game. Tor also has a Scratching Hag patch on his vest in Alan Wake 2. Keep that in mind, Marama. We will come back to that. Okay. Let's get on with the game then. All right, let's do this. See, what I find really hysterical about this portion right here, because if you look through the window, you can clearly see Rose is just kind of like hanging out right there in front of the door. And you can see her through the slats in the door. First things first, this is really badly insulated. It's horrible during the summer months and the winter months. Anyways, but listen to her. She's walking to the door.
Welcome to... Oh dear, Mr. Wake. I'm so glad you're here.
Rose, you have my manuscript?
That's just sloppy in my opinion.
Oh yes. Yes. Please, come in.
Hey, this is really good.
Rose,
Yes,
my manuscript. I really need it.
I understand. I know what you need. A muse to inspire you.
Oh, for Barry. She doesn't have anything.
Yeah, hey, Al? Al, what's... Oh...
Barry! What? What?
It's coming for you, hiding in my barber's skin. I'm too weak to stop it. You must turn the lights on.
I promised I'd come visit you and your lovely wife. You must finish what you started. I insist.
You must turn the lights on. Turn the light on.
Back to work, boy.
I felt nauseous, hungover. Only anger kept me going.
I can't tell reality from dream anymore, but it seems I have an imaginary editor to help me. She's an old woman in a funeral dress. I call her Barbara Jagger. She's very strict. I'm writing faster and faster. My manuscript is being heavily revised. The edits are getting very aggressive, and each day there's less of me and more of her. I hate it, but I know she's right. She promises me I can save Alice this way. She knows more of this than I do. About the complex incantation I'm attempting. About this place. She's worked with another writer under similar circumstances, Thomas Zane. The genre of the story seems to be shifting. It's turning into a horror story. I'm getting close. I can feel it.
Okay, TV set number 6. Alright, so there's a couple minor things here, just in terms of context. So according to the developer commentaries of this game, the Dark Presence really does not understand the nuances of art, despite it that's kind of being what it's about. So they claimed that despite sitting on Alan's shoulder throughout the entire writing process for Departure, it could not foresee or predict what Alan was actually planning to do. So, like, it could see that... It didn't understand that Alan was setting up dominoes to later be knocked over. But it was just, like, going along with it. Because you would think that if there was an editor who knew what Alan was writing, that it would foresee, like, hey, he's trying to screw me over. I gotta stop him right now while he's writing it before he screws me over. But it had literally no way of understanding it. Which is also why it can't write on its own. It can't create its own art. Yeah, media literacy. That's exactly it. And yeah, it is just kind of sad here that her bedroom is very childish. But then again, in the Alan Wake Illuminated, the art book, they mention, and this is directly from the developers, so I accept this a little bit like as more their inspiration and their ideas while writing the story, that Rose specifically uses fiction in a way as a way of growing up to escape her rough childhood. It's implied she had a very rough household growing up. Like a very rough, traumatic household. So she used fiction in order to escape from it. And they confirm she's not necessarily in love with Alan in the conventional sense, but she sees him as a symbol of the fame and glamour that she desires, that is a necessity for her to escape her life and her childhood. So if only she can get that Hollywood magic, then she can get out of here. And they mention this somewhat when it comes to Ranger Rusty. Because one of the manuscript pages definitely mentions that life had taught her it's like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like life had taught her the virtues of a man who was gentle, which implied her father might have been abusive. But again, we don't know the details, but it's just kind of like the implications hanging in the air there.
Rose took a day from me. I had less than 12 hours left to meet the kidnapper. All I could do was get Barry into the car, work something out once I got on the road.
Cooking with corn, 72 tasty recipes. Well, Pirate Gamer, they don't specify, say specifically what happened that was rough with Rose's childhood, so we don't know any details. It could just be that maybe he was, like, the father was a drunk. It could just be, or, like, it's implied it was the father, but it's not confirmed. Maybe it was the mother. Who knows? It could just be that he was just an angry person, and it was not directed towards her in any way. She was just a voyeur to the whole situation, so to speak. It's like, we have no context. But anyways, let's go ahead and look at that thermos lore real quick. That's going to be page 98. There we go. Those two New York sickos did a real bang-up job on Rose. Although Breaker doesn't seem to think they're to blame. I don't know where Marigold was taken to, but it's likely to have padded walls, mouth guards, and tight-fitting clothing with straps. The thermos in her trailer kitchen wasn't a shocking revelation, let's put it that way. I always took it Rose had an abusive ex. I mean, like, this is the commentary that's mentioning this, Konami, so this is the developers, the ones who wrote the story, saying, yeah, she used fiction to escape her rough childhood. Oh no, this is an Alan Wake Illuminated, which is again written by the devs, talking about this is what they were thinking while writing it. Anyways.
Welcome to the Oh Dear Diner. What can I get you today? Coffee?
I couldn't work up much hate for Rose. Something had used her to get to me, and left its mark.
First refill is free. Milk and sugar on the counter there. Would you like to hear today's specials? Thank you. A nice day. Come back soon.
I mean, so yeah, thank you, Break, for posting the quote. He taught her to dance, and life had certainly taught her the value of a man who is gentle. I mean, it could be interpreted as like a past relationship, but in conjunction with other things written by the developers, for sure there was an issue in her household growing up, but it could also be like a recurring, a repeat thing if there was bad relationships on top of that. So who knows?
Barry was out of it. He was way too heavy to carry.
You're right. I deserve more money. I'm so handsome.
Yes, you are, Barry. You were the absolute Chad.
My gun and flashlight were gone. I'd have to find a way to get Barry into the car as quickly as possible. There was no time to waste. Mr. Randolph liked Rose. That little smile she had. How she was still sweet when life had tried so hard to make her bitter. It wasn't any of his business what she did in her trailer. But those strangers, the writer and his smart-ass sidekick, looked like trouble. And they'd been in there for hours, way past her normal bedtime. He reached for the phone and called the sheriff's station.
I mean, personally, I don't think Randolph necessarily did anything wrong here. He likely knows Rose well enough to know her history. So he's obviously, like, we get from the conversation with him earlier that he's very protective over her. So when he sees something like this, he's probably like, hey, we do not need this. So I get it, even though he's wrong. We know he's incorrect in his presumption, but from his perspective, he's doing the right thing.
I just stepped outside to catch a breath of fresh air. Let me tell you, the weather's getting heavy. Nights like this make me especially glad I'm here talking to you and not home in bed. Once the weather takes a turn like this, I can't sleep at all. It's all tangled bed sheets and dark thoughts, punctuated by the occasional plunge into nightmare. Is it just me? Well, perhaps it is. But I hope I can make the night a little bit easier to get through. Caller, you're on KBF FM.
Hey, Pat, it's Walt Snyder.
What's on your mind, Walt?
Well, I ain't the way you are, but, well, I can't sleep either, you know? staring out the window here, trying to make sense of it all, but I ain't been drinking either. You know, I just...
Well, you sound like a man with a problem, Walt.
I had argument with Danny. You know Danny, and then I got in trouble with the law. You know, and I'm just... Well...
I heard something like that, Walt.
Yeah. Well, you know, Danny's my best friend, and they let me on bail today. And now I'm just alone here at the window, you know, waiting. Man, and there's something in the air tonight, man.
I was just outside looking up at the sky above our broadcast tower thinking the same thing. What are you waiting for, Walt?
I don't know. You know, something's gonna happen. You know, I think I better go.
Well, Walt, maybe...
No, thanks, Pat.
Well, good luck to you, Walt. Hang in there. Let's take a little break, folks. This weather's really something else, huh?
How can I be sure?
Okay. So the tune we have going on here... Well, actually, let's talk about Walter first. So, we don't know this yet, but we will learn it eventually, that Walter has been going to the Anderson farm and stealing their moonshine. So he definitely has been consuming the mind-altering liquor. Now, what that has to do with his perception, we don't know, but him being more sensitive to the coming darkness makes sense, given the fact that he has been imbibing in the Andersons' moonshine. The song we have going on here is called How Can I Be Sure by Anime Bell. And I think this one may... I could be wrong here. Let me get your impression. But the tune is essentially dealing with the uncertainty of being in a relationship, where you're not sure whether it's going to be loyalty, or you're going to lose them, or if they're going to be a good person or a bad person, the red flag. Like, you're just like, you have that 50-50, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, where you're just trying to find that certainty and you don't have it. And that's what this tune's all about. And I'm curious if this is in relation to Rose when it comes to Rusty and her perception of him. Because it's very much implied that she has a bad history in that respect, and she probably second-guesses the whole thing. Oh, is he going to turn out exactly like all the rest? So, like, my gut tells me we don't know anything about her, like, anything about that. It's just implied that maybe it was a rough household, and it may have come from him. But again, it's all hearsay. But it's that kind of like half and half out. So my gut tells me this song's probably in relation to Rose. All right. But while we're here, we actually have a couple things we're gonna have to go check out. So let's switch over. First things first, on page 99, we do have the Night Owl radio. So the two guys who are going around testing all the radio signals throughout the town. See right there, Anime Bell, How Can I Be Sure? It might be the trees, Sam, but Pat's coming in a little tinny over at the rear of the trailer park. So one of the guys is named Sam. That's all we know. And since it is also the night of the second day, 36 hours remaining, let's go read more of Nightingale's stuff, because he has another handwritten page. There we go. So it's going to be the night of the second day. That's day 3, day 3, day 2 afternoon. Here we go. How to get to our boy before he hurts anyone? That's the $1 million question. Do these people know what they're dealing with here? Good God, it's like watching toddlers play with nitro. Interviewed locals at the trailer park. Suspect there's something behind all these dopey country facades. Everybody knows more than they're telling. Or maybe they just don't, which is even scarier. Wake did a number on that waitress. Sweet kid, but can't tell night from day. We have to remember that Nightingale is coming into the situation with the presumption, accurately so, that Wake is causing all the problems in town, and he thinks he's placing the townsfolk under a spell. Yes, that was a Majora's Mask reference, Marama. So he doesn't trust the townspeople because he thinks they may be influenced by the writer, and he thinks the writer is the one who is causing the missing people and the deaths and all this stuff, which he's not wrong. That's the sad part. He's not wrong. But combining that with his paranoia about what we'll learn a little bit later about him, as well as the alcohol consumption, the alcohol abuse he's going through right now, it's kind of understandable. Even though we know he's kind of off his rocker. Anyways, when Nightingale refers to our boy, it can only be assumed he means Alan Wake. This is Clay speaking. What is not clear is why Nightingale is so afraid of what Wake might do. Although Wake has a history of erratic behavior, he is not associated with anything that would give an experienced FBI agent concern. Nightingale seems equally unnerved and suspicious of the locals, and more than that, he evidences a genuine fear of an undetermined someone or something. Based upon the license plate, this car has been rented by Alice Wake. It is unknown whether Nightingale's examination of the crash site yielded any leads to her whereabouts or those of her husband. Okay. Let's switch back to the game, and then we're going to switch right back. No, this isn't Mott Sergeant Armory. This is Agent Nightingale. Agent Nightingale thinks all of this about Alan. Alright, so this may just be me throwing a little bit out there, but I think we may have some information on one of the other residents of the Sparkling River Estates trailer park, and I want to say it is this one. Specifically the one with the radio by the on the back patio porch. In the... Okay, let me do this in a different order. Pause. We're gonna go read something in the Alan Wake files. I'll be right back. There's a missing manuscript page that actually relates to something going on here in the trailer park. Here we go. And it's about a girl named Ellen. Ellen shivered as the storm rolled in. A sweater and jacket should have been plenty to ward off the chill, but it was dark and suddenly so bitter that the stars looked jagged. A scientist should always be prepared, she chided herself. Ellen wasn't weird, no matter what the other 7th graders said. Her mind just worked differently, which was why she was sitting in the forest with her ears stopped up with mini tape recorders beside her. Soon she would know the answer to the question. If a tree falls in the middle of the forest and there's no one there to hear it, does it make a sound? Extra credit. The older trees rattled against each other in the wind like finger bones. Soon as the storm toppled one over, the recorder would provide the proof of it actually making a sound when it fell. She shivered again, her breath frosty. She looked around, trying to get her bearings, but everything seemed tilted and out of place. Even the stars were blinking out, like somebody pulled the plug on heaven. Now, with that said, in the novel, while Randolph is walking Barry and Alan through the trailer park towards Rose's trailer, a woman comes out of one of the trailers and asks Randolph where her daughter Ellen is, because she's gone missing. And I presume that this is the specific trailer because there's a radio out front so she can listen into Pat Main's radio broadcast to see if there's news about her missing daughter. So when you guys were talking about how the story wouldn't harm children, yeah, in 7th grade that would have been like 12 or 13 or something to that effect. Maybe like 11 to 12.
Oh, you're gonna get it now. God knows what you've done to that poor girl.
This is Agent Nightingale, FBI! Get him up, Hemingway! You're under arrest! You
It starts.
Move a muscle, I'll unload right in your goddamn face! Stay right where you are, Spillane!
What are? I'm standing right here, you goddamn maniac!
I hated to leave Barry behind, but there was no way I'd miss my appointment with the kidnapper.
Give it up, Mr. Wake. Come on. Take it easy now. Don't let him get away.
Time to run! And somehow Nightingale got the entire Bright Falls Sheriff's Department to go along with this. Good thing he didn't write Nightingale's a good shot. Well, he's also drunk right now, so... He pulled rank.
Okay, men, keep your eyes peeled. He's gonna try to make it through here.
Oh, damn.
Oh god, please stop, please stop, please stop. Oh my god. I saw the bullet before I heard the sound. That doesn't make sense. There it is, okay. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss it, because I knew there was a manuscript on this path, and for some reason I always feel like I miss it when I walk past it.
He's gone. Come on, guys. We need to head him off.
For decades, the darkness that wore Barbara Jagger's skin slept fitfully in the dark place that was its home and prison. It was hungry and in pain. It dreamed of its nights of glory when the poet's writing had called it from the depths and given it a brief, terrible taste of power and freedom. The rock stars had stirred it from the deep sleep the poet had sunk it back to in the end. When it sensed the writer on the ferry, it opened its eyes.
Well, it's not that bomb style, it's just that you saw the bullet like a full second before you heard the sound, and this is close range. This is very close range. So it'd basically be perceived as the exact same time, not like a second delay. I mean, like, I don't have any hatred for Nightingale. He's just a very broken man who has accurate information. He just didn't know how to handle that information.
Nightingale, over. What on earth is going on? My deputies tell me he fired at Wake and he didn't have a gun. You almost hit a civilian instead. Over. Sheriff, Wake's running. I'm giving chase. I don't have time for this. Well, make the time. You can't just go shooting at people in my town. Over. I'm a federal agent pursuing a fugitive. You want to discuss my methods, Sheriff? Make an appointment. Over. You stay right where you are, Agent Nightingale. I'm on my way. Out.
At least Sarah's got our back. Yeah, exactly, Other. He's acting out of fear.
All units are advised that the suspect may be armed. Approach with caution. James out.
Deputy James. We will see him eventually. Do.
Rose didn't know how the strange old lady got in her trailer, and she looked wrong somehow. The woman showed her teeth in an approximation of a smile and traced a finger down Rose's cheek. Pretty girl, she said. Rose felt as if she was falling asleep, but her knees didn't buckle. The crone spoke in a whisper, her words ice cold and dark in Rose's ear.
I mean, you're absolutely right, Generally Break. The sheriff does have reigning authority, so even if a federal officer came in, the sheriff still has authority over them. At least when it comes to certain things. Now, there could be recourse for that later, but in the moment, they still have top authority. Alright, so according to the survival guide, this region is called Moon Ridge. This entire pathway is called Moon Ridge in Bright Falls.
Search the area. Stay sharp. This way.
Please stop. You don't see anything. No, these are not the droids you're looking for. Leave me alone.
This horror was everywhere I went, circling me. The cops didn't stand a chance. They were after a writer, not a monster.
He's the guy we're chasing. If it's not him, who then? Bigfoot? Over.
I don't know yet, but I'm not in the habit of jumping to conclusions. That tends to come back and bite you in the ass. Out.
I freaking love how Sarah just talks back. She's like, have you seen this guy? He wears a tweed jacket. He's not dangerous. Like, hey, stop talking shit on my jacket, Sarah. God. She's right, though. I mean, you saw nothing. I'm just a tree waving in the wind.
You on the ground. Hold it right there. There's nowhere to run.
Ow. Man, I would totally troll and rip the sapling out of the ground and just carry it with me. Oof. Yep. Ooh, hello there, Thermos. Let's go ahead and do that. And that is going to be on page 103. There we go. The ranger station up on Moon Ridge has a tchotchke from the Oh Dear Diner too. This is out of Rusty's jurisdiction, but it's regularly used camping area and patrol point. Finding a thermos on the stove in the station isn't anything out of the ordinary, well, if it wasn't for the same color as all the others. Alright, and so this right here, break, is why I did, when you were streaming, I came on, I was like, what, do you know what a tchotchke is? Because I had never heard that term before, to be 100% honest. You remember the tchotchke conversation? Yeah. So it's basically a small decorative trinket, or it's like a knickknack, is what it means, the tchotchke right here. And this is another example of the coffee thermos FBI agent having a very nice diction. Like, he has a really good diction for someone who's just a random fed. Just saying. I mean, I've never heard that. Maybe it's more common not in America. From what I read, it's more of a, like a Scandinavian term that it is. It's used more often there than it is over here, but who knows? He might be a writer.
This is James. Mulligan, Thornton, come in. Over.
Thornton here. James, we got both Wheeler and Rose in custody. They didn't put up a fight or anything. Why, they were... Hey, Mulligan, what are you doing? Come on! Sit down and give me that.
James, Mulligan here. Over. Go ahead, Mulligan. Over. We got Wheeler and Rose here. Wheeler's drunk or hopped up on something. Speaking of which...
It's definitely not Scandinavian cool band. Okay.
Whiff of Otis Scotch about her, you know what I mean? Over. I don't have anything on that, Deputy Mulligan. Over. Well, whatever. Anyway, Rose is just being plain weird here. You better get Doc in to take a look at both. Over. Gotcha. You better get them here quickly. The, Fed's gonna want to interview Wheeler. Over. Oh, yeah, I'll bet he does. Looks like they have a lot in common. Mulligan out.
Alright, so I'm being corrected in chat right now, so I thank you all. So apparently it's not Scandinavian, but it's more like a New England thing. It's better known in areas with a large Jewish population. So it's sounds weird. It's most likely Yiddish. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm very mistaken then. I take that back. Thank you all for keeping me honest. Now here's a funny little detail in the novel that obviously you don't see it here, but this is just a radio. I don't know if is this the Ranger Tower? Yeah, I think this is just one of the Ranger Towers. So obviously there's a bed here, which means someone spends some time up here for a long during their shift. In the novel, Alan finds a full meal just sitting here on a plate. So he just grabs the food and just downs it. So he's just like, okay, food. He probably hasn't eaten in who knows how long, other than the beer he had the previous night. So I just love that this happens all the time in the novel too, where he will write that there is a meal for him. Just randomly. He'll be like, oh, cool, there's just food here for me. Oh, here, there's something for me to grab. So for anyone who's wondering, is like, oh yeah, how is he staying upright? No, he finds a way. Alright, the cat's finally... Guys, we both lost the bet. Zoe just finally started scratching, and it's been like 45 minutes. We said it would take like 10 minutes for her to come at me. Get on in here, Zoe girl. Well, there's your food. There's your food, good girl. She did it on purpose so we'd lose the bet? Yeah, no shit. Alright, let's head back down.
I could see the lights at the radio station in the distance.
There we go. That's our goal. And there's the tower for the radio. He's running a buffet every couple of hours. Dude, you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do, let's be honest.
I imagined that the broadcast tower in the distance was part of the local radio station. Maine seemed like a decent guy. Perhaps he could give me directions to the coal mine.
Okay, here we go.
Unnatural shadows clung to the gate. The darkness that was after me was trying to stop me. I wouldn't get through without a light.
You got that right, but let's go ahead and grab said thermos and get some more coffee lore. Alrighty, so this one is on page 104. There we go. Out on a boulder on the hilltop plateau across from the ranger station, Wake found another thermos. Although this one wasn't quite as easy to spot near the searchlight, new evidence suggests Pat Maine might be hiding these throughout the area. It's his neck of the woods. Dude, there's no evidence for that, dude. Now he's just blaming Maine. First it's like, oh, Alan's doing this. Oh, no, now it's Rusty doing this. Now it's Pat Maine doing this. It seems he suspects whoever is geographically closest. Come on, bro. Pat Maine turns out to be a narc. No. Alright. Do 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 do. Okay, cat. I can't see the spinny thingy. Oh, I love you, sweetheart, but you're always in front of the monitor. So yeah, I think this Thermos agent is just so annoyed he doesn't really care what his hypotheses are. Can you answer the next question, Drake? Yeah, sure. Yeah, he's just looking for a patch to close the case. Then again, his post, I'm pretty sure he feels like whoever put in this post is not taking him seriously, so therefore he's not taking the assignment seriously either. He's like, oh yeah, Bigfoot left this one over here. Okay, we finally got ourselves a flashlight. Let's just do that so we don't waste the battery. Alright. So we don't have a weapon, but
it took me a moment to recognize
we have flashbangs.
grenades. They were an ideal weapon for my situation.
One, come in. Over. Team 1, this is Sheriff Breaker. Report. Over. Team 2, come in. I need a report. Over. Come on, guys. Talk to me. Come in, please. Over.
Okay, this may just be me, reading between the lines here a little bit, but we had a previous note from Nightingale that the population of Bright Falls was like a few hundred. Given the amount of sheriff's deputies we've seen so far in the game, it kind of feels like at least 10 to 15% of the entire population works for the police department. Given this is Bright Falls, that actually makes sense, but that's a huge percentage of sheriff's officers as compared to the population as a whole. Hold on, am I still live, guys? Just making sure I'm still live. Okay, there we go. Chat stopped, so I wasn't sure if I was still recording. I just wanted to make sure. Whoa, whoa, whoa. There we go. Let me find a light real quick. I mean, she has multiple teams. Okay, there we go. Alright, yeah, for some reason all the chat stopped and now all of your messages are coming at the same time. I don't know what happened. Okay, so if I was in Alan's shoes, would you write in his place for you to survive? I've been hanging out in the background, but good for... Okay, oh, hey, Kenita. No worries, hope you're doing good. If I was in Alan's shoes, what would you write in his place? I mean, it depends. If you... Alan's issue is he didn't have the full control over his wits. He was being constantly revised and manipulated by the Dark Presence, so it's kind of like... I think a good example of the whole genie's wish that happens with this writing around the lake, there was an episode of X-Files where they found a djinn in a storage container rolled up inside of like a rug or something like that. And the first two wishes, it's 3 wishes, but it's one of those I always screw up your wish kind of things, a monkey's paw situation. So Mulder actually sat down and wrote out, like a lawyer, his wish, just so that every little loophole was taken into account for. before handing it over to the genie, and she was like, yeah, I can technically do that, but are you serious? Like, are you for real, bro? So, like, I think if you had the hindsight bias where you understood what you were writing, if I was in Alan's shoes, would work, you'd be able to literally cross the T's, dot every I, and write it like a lawyer before you submit it to the dark place and say, here you go. The problem is that's probably not that. Yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't be as good of a story if you could. Yeah, the Jinn was just pissed at him. He's like, are you serious, bro?
And here's another call. You're on KBFFM with Pat Maine.
It's Milt Peabody, Pat.
What's on your mind, Milt?
Well, I live near the trailer park, Pat, and there's a big ruckus going on over there.
Well, that's just up the road from me, too. What's going on, do you know?
I don't know, but there's a bunch of police cars there, lots of sirens, a helicopter buzzing around, and I think I heard some gunshots.
Gunshots?
Yes, sir, like from a pistol. So can you find out what's going on? Because it's just next door and they're popping off guns there.
They're still shooting?
No, it was maybe 10, 15 minutes ago. It sounds serious, Pat. I'm telling you, it don't sound like no party.
I'm certainly going to give the station a call, Milt.
Okay.
You'll hear it here as soon as I hear from them.
Okay, thanks.
Alrighties. So this tune right here is called Electrica Cadente by a band called The Dead Combo. No lyrics whatsoever on this one. It's just a vibe. That's literally what I wrote in my notes. No lyrics, just a vibe. Well, let's go check up on Sam and the other radio technician. So right here it says, Sam, you can't beat the reception out here at the remains of the old man Halloran's place. But that's mainly because Pat's broadcasting from just down the road. So there's a location here owned by an old man Halloran, meaning implying he's a longtime resident of the town. And again, it's the name Halloran. We had the researcher who died on the plane crash, who was investigating Cauldron Lake with the surname Halloran as well. And since we're here, I want to go see if I can find that. And there's a random t-shirt sitting here for no reason. I think I looked around in the woods here, but I didn't see the actual structure that they're referring to. And I think I didn't spend too much time because I was going to attack the hole. Isn't there a character in Pet Sematary? I haven't read Pet Sematary, but I know Halloran is Danny Torrance's mentor in The Shining. Okay, we're surrounded. Goodbye. Oh, you're still alive? Dick. There we go. Alright.
Touched by the dark presence, Rose was lost in a dreamland where everything was drawn in black and gray crayons. The old lady had promised her that all her wishes would come true. She would be Alan Wake's muse. She was smiling so hard it hurt her face. She crushed a bottle full of sleeping pills into the coffee. Deep down inside, she was screaming in terror.
She was conscious the entire time, which makes this even worse. Yeah, that looks like the foundations of a house with pillars and square. Oh, hold on. Let me go back and take a look. We have enough ammo. Oh, yeah, we're literally standing in the remains of old... You know, you guys are right. You're absolutely right. Let me just make a note real quick. And pause so we don't accidentally get attacked. I don't know how I missed that when I was doing my run-through. Old Man Halloran's place is a ruin. Just foundation footings. Yeah, because it looks like it's just the footings for the structure. So yeah, he must have been, like, the Halloran family must have been something in Bright Falls for a long time, because it's not just this person who's there for a very long time, but also the child who went to go to university in Washington and later came back to investigate. Which begs the question. That's actually an interesting idea. Give me a second. I'm trying to find a cave real quick so I can at least get safety. Because there's a cave over here along the cliffside. Dick. There we go, there's the cave. Oh my gosh! Guys, leave your freaking AI! These guys are using aimbot, I swear. Aimbot is not allowed in this game. Go away. Okay, so now they can't come in after me. Okay. Before we open up the hidden cache right here, trust no one in the dark. Thank you, Cynthia. I won't. Okay, let's look at the circumstances surrounding the fallen plane again real fast. Maybe we should walk away from the generator because it's kind of loud. Yeah, that's better. Thomas Zane wrote himself out of existence, caused the lake to explode, or the caldera to explode. The island goes down with it. Over the next 2 weeks, we had a couple of researchers, C.D. Ward and a Richard Halloran, along with Halloran's writing assistant Derleth, I think it's Mary Derleth, show up to investigate. Now, Halloran, because we have the remains of a Halloran house here, would imply that individual has a long-time family here in Bright Falls, meaning he was probably raised with the understanding this town is a little weird, right? And then over the course of the plane ride out, after it was discovered that of the reality-altering stuff, the plane went down under mysterious circumstances and all the research went missing, right? Is it possible, and this is just pure supposition with nothing to back it up, is it possible that Richard Halloran went on that journey with C.D. Ward, and once he realized that Ward actually had information, sabotaged the plane to make sure the evidence never saw the light of day? I don't know why, because... I mean, like, that seems like a lot of holes in that, though. It seems like a lot of holes in that thing. But it just seems odd to have the name in two places. Because you'd presume anyone who was raised in Bright Falls, or at least had family here, would have some kind of understanding the place is weird. We got a flare gun. I think it's more the Dark Presence got them for finding the truth. I mean, that's also possible. Even though I don't know why the Dark Presence would care. I think it more has to do with what they experienced had lingering consequences, but who knows. Alright, excerpt for this one is on page 107. Let's just ignore what I just said. Let's just ignore that. I'm just throwing thoughts out. Okay. 107. There we go. The Serbian-American poet Charles Simic wrote, "Inside my empty bottle, I was constructing a lighthouse, while all the others were making ships. The cave close to the radio station has what you crave." Alright. Let's get over to the radio station, because we're literally right up the road. Now, I do think that the FBC... we don't have any information about if or the circumstances around them responding to the 1970 AWE here. I presume they would have, because they have an AWE file on the 1976 one involving the Andersons. But I don't think we have any information on the Thomas Zane one in 1970. Like, I think they mention it, but not any details past that. And if the FBC mentioned it, that means they have records on stuff before the breaking point, or the retcon event. Well, it was 2 weeks after the lake erupted in Rama. Because it was the lake erupting which got them to come out.
To the coal mine.
Oh, guys, remember I was talking about the Karen that wrote the deer thing in the ranger station?
Yeah, for us.
Well, I just don't see why the cops bother with the trailer park.
What do you mean?
It's a trailer park. Of course you're going to have trouble in a place like that. I mean, what do you expect? The sheriff should be helping us normal citizens instead of wasting resources on those people.
Well...
Let the trash sort themselves out. I'm sorry, but my granddaddy settled in Bright Falls in 1911.
Well, thank you very much for that compassionate viewpoint, Lorna.
Bitch! Alright. Okay, some more Thermos lore. Let's do this. Alright, where are you? There we go. This one was resting at the foot of the radio station sign near Maine's vehicle. Perhaps there's something stronger than coffee in this one. Is Pat a boozer? Washington State has some pretty strict laws governing the carrying of alcohol in a vehicle, as Nightingale found, to his cost. So, one, he's also making up stuff trying to claim that Pat is an alcoholic, which isn't... We have zero evidence of that. But he's also implying that Nightingale got picked up on drinking and driving charge, potentially. Probably wasn't charged with it, but at least picked up. Wouldn't surprise me, though. Okay, so also radio number 7, which is this one. Hey, Sam, it's Dave. So the other guy's name is Dave. That old witch, the old witch Lorna is on again. Oh, right, the reception. Yeah, pretty good. Didn't even need a radio for this one. So yeah, it's known that the townspeople really do not like Lorna Miles. I don't blame them. No, so that occurred in 1987. I believe, Kielbasa, the whole Tor and Odin fighting door that happened in 1987. And this is remastered version only. This poster was not here in the original version of the game. When you need to know the weather, there's only one man you can turn to, the Jim Figmore Report, every morning on KBFW. So yeah, Alan kind of made a new edition when he rewrote Departure, included this in here to kind of set the foundation for the character of Jim Figmore being in the sequel. So, is what it is.
Oh, here's a little surprise. The famous writer Alan Wake just walked in. Folks, I'm going to see if I can talk him into an interview.
Come on in, Mr. Wake. Oh, I'm so glad you could find the time to do this, Mr. Wake.
Nowhere to run now, Dan Brown. You back away from me. Don't hurt it.
Whoa. Everyone calm down.
Put the gun down. We're all friends here, right?
Cool your jets, Nightingale. We got him.
Judas Priest!
What the hell's the matter with you? There's a civilian in there.
No, Maram. Jim Figmore was like a weatherman that Pat Main called.
You yet, even if it kills me, you hear me? You hear me, H.P. Lovecraft?
There we
I had
go.
fallen off so many cliffs it was ridiculous. That's what you get for naming a book The Sudden Stop. It was probably good I hadn't had the chance to tell Maine where I was going. I'd have to lose the cops and find my own way to the mine. Nightingale stared through the broken studio window into the dark woods. He turned around, started to walk out, but Maine grabbed his arm. "Young man, you almost shot me. You don't shoot off rounds at people like that. What's the matter with you?" Nightingale shook his arm free, marched out. His cheeks burned with rage and humiliation.
So we will have more interaction between Nightingale and Maine, but we will not read that until the start of next stream. Because I have it in my notes to discuss that, but not yet. Nightingale needs some coffee. I mean, he needs a few things. Where's the light? There's the light. Okay, we're good. Pistol, pistol, pistol. We'll give me the shotguns. And what do we got over here? More flares. Love it. Alright. We're gonna have to do a lot of hiking up the non-beaten path right now. So this entire area is completely optional, but we can head all the way up to the bottom of the actual broadcasting radio tower. Stay away! Dude, don't charge at me like that. Buy me dinner first. Because I know it's here somewhere. Is it this one or the next bend? It might be the next bend. For some reason, I always have difficulty with this thermos. Yeah, it might be the next bend in the path. Okay, let's keep going up. Okay, let's take a pause. Look at the pitch of this hillside. I don't know if you guys have done a lot of mountain hiking, but this... I mean, look at this one. This would kill your thighs. Holy crap, the incline on this has to at least be like... I don't know, like 15 by 12 pitch. Maybe 16 by 12 pitch. And like, I do roof inspections all the time, so knowing the pitch is kind of necessary for how safe it is to walk on. This is not safe at all. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and swap on over so we can get some more Thermos lore. What a hoot. Oh, by the way, Pat Main actually published a biography called What a Hoot! Midnight Musings from the Night Owl, Volume 1. Unfortunately, we never get a chance to read any part of that. I should really cut down on the cancer sticks. My lungs were burning when I found the thermos up on the promontory above the radio station, close to the mast. I was hoping for a view to make up for my unrelenting trek, but there was thick mist, as usual, and yes, I can only look for that during daylight hours. Crazy place, Bright Falls, Washington. Okay, boss, you used to live on a hill. Oh gosh, my buddy actually moved to a place that had a really big incline getting up to the house. And no joke, when the first time I was backing my truck out of it, it destroyed some of the gear. in my brakes. Because I was trying to like slowly back up, and I don't know what happened, but something snapped as a result of the incline. I never visited again. The most out-of-the-way manuscript in the entire game. Thank you. At the base of the actual radio tower.
Danny had stepped out, but what stumbled back in was something else. Something alien. A monster. Walter tried to kill it, first with his fists, then a chair. It wouldn't die. Instead, it kept coming, unaffected by the beating it had taken. After Walter managed to kick it down the cellar stairs, fear took over. He ran, got behind the wheel, gunned the engine. The booze wouldn't make him forget, but he knew he had to try.
And somehow he misinterpreted that as actual space aliens. Sadly. Never back up on an incline. Dude, I very rarely drive on inclines, so maybe that's just me not knowing that Marama. But yeah, I was a dumb shit. Get away, get away. Okay, and that's the downside of coming up here is there's so many freaking ravens. There's just way too many. So yeah, today's stream is going to go on a little bit longer, mostly because I want to end this when we get to daylight. So as soon as we finish up the night section, we hit the next morning, I'll go ahead and end it, and then we'll continue everything on from there. Friday. Yeah, after the tractor bit. Ah, you know what? Get away from me! Be gone! Okay, I think that's it. We still have 3 more flashbangs. Let's hold off on that for now. We're about to get to an encounter once we get into the barn that's coming up. Dick. We have, like, no ammo, though. I don't really want to use that ammo. Okay, so this barn is actually owned at one point by Gunderson.
It was almost as if they'd been left for someone like me to use.
Or at least someone from the Gunderson family. Come on. There we go. Okay, let me get the shotgun so at least it'll take the edge off of this entire section. Let me out! Let me out of the door! Let me out of the door, dick! Oh, we got so many. Stay away! Literally out of ammo. This is not good. In the light, you can hurt them. And what's worse is I have to waste 1 round of ammunition because of the damn Mott. Mott decided to put some canned pyramids right here for no reason. And I missed! 3 times. Damn it. Alright, let's switch over and read what Mott has to say. Emil says this is a good place to stack them. An old truck in the shed near Gunderson's barn. There are a lot of them there. You'll be distracted, delayed, frightened, susceptible. Gives me a fighting chance. I mean, it's almost like he's expecting for us to be chasing throughout this whole thing. When we have no clue where he is, so it really doesn't matter. I really don't care. Okay, so we got another shack somewhere around here with a thermos. I think it's up here. No, this is where the manuscript page is.
The bulldozer's engine roared to life. Mud and rocks flew as it fought for traction. It crashed the concrete wall and landed heavily in the yard. If it were an animal, it would have shaken its head after the impact, fixed its eyes on me, and charged. Of course, it had no head, nor eyes. Shadows crawled on its form, twisting it into a monster. Then, it came for me.
Thanks for the foreshadowing there, buddy. Okay, let's go find that other shack. Actually, I might be further up the trail. Because that's the one with the cans. This is the main one. Here we go. This is probably it. Yeah, that's it. We're good. Please don't attack me. I gotta read some more thermos lore. Okay, where are we? What page is this? Oh, there we are. Alright, guys. So we got some more Twin Peaks references. Cooper's out for the day on a transcendental meditation seminar. At least he can't bombard me with another bizarre hypothesis that makes me question my own existence. Although I thought about it once or twice when I was running around the woods near the old Gunderson barn, looking for a small shed with a favorite thermos of the Pacific Northwest. So yeah, Cooper is a recurring character for the thermos guy. And apparently he's going on a transcendental existentialist meditation seminar. Whatever, dude. Oh, by the way, this entire region right here in Bright Falls is called River Trail. Because we're going along the side of the river. Oh, actually, that's something we haven't done yet. Hold on. I completely forgot. So, let's take a look at where we are on here. So, Sparkling River Estates, this is where Rose's trailer was. So, as we escape through here, we're on our way to the KBFM radio station, which is where we just left. And we're following along the river, so most likely we're traveling near, like, on this side of it. Or on that side of it. One of the two. Heading towards Stucky's gas station, at least in the same general direction.
Sarah trusted her gut, and her gut said Agent Nightingale was an asshole. He felt wrong, and it wasn't just the smell of stale booze. It was in the way he flashed his badge, pulled rank, the look in his eyes when he wanted answers. Where was Alan Wake? What was this about an accident? Where was his wife? And most importantly, why did she let Wake go? He wouldn't answer her questions. Federal business was all he'd say.
Sounds about right. Oh, look, and then we got a train depot right here. Okay, we're good for ammo, at least for a little bit. So we got some train tracks leading into the location where the bulldozer's gonna be.
Hello?
The most stubborn man I've ever met.
Alice? Alice?
Alan. Alan. I'm so afraid. It keeps me in the dark. Please help me. I look at you, Alan, and it's not you. Something else. Looking out from behind your eyes.
Alice, I'm here.
I'm so alone here. It's all gonna go to hell. You need to be careful. cooperate.
The connection had been terrible, but that wasn't the only thing that hadn't been right with the call. She sounded wrong somehow, but she had called me.
That actually might be the case, Marama, that the dotted lines on the map are the railroad tracks. It's possible. Like, as far as I know, this is the only location that has that. But I know we're also coming up on a section where we cross underneath the bridge of a railroad track. There we go. Maxed ammo. We feel better. And we got... only 8 shells. That's fine. Perfect. Okay, let's go read and see what Cynthia has in store for us. And that's going to be right here. Be just and fear not, as Francis Bacon once said. In order for the light to shine so brightly, the darkness must be present. The remains of the small cottage have a hidden gift, 2 types of light to thwart the dark. Why are you trying to juke the window, buddy? Dick. Stop throwing things at me. I don't appreciate it. Where is he? I think I knocked him off the side of the cliff. That's my bad. Oh yeah, in case you guys don't know, that wasn't actually Alice. They have an audio recording. Hartman has an audio recording of Alice that he spliced up.
The pipe wrenched itself loose from the bridge's steel framework. Wrapped in darkness, it floated in midair, twitching. For a moment, I didn't understand what I was looking at. The heavy object lurched at me with impossible force. I threw myself out of the way, but just barely. When I turned my flashlight on it, it shook in a dark rage before it flew at me again.
And now all we have to do... This is probably just Alan remembering frickin' stuff from, like, Carrie or something.
And a warehouse of some sort on the opposite shore. I hoped I could find a car from there.
He's like, oh, telekinesis. Oh yeah, so the train track goes right over the top of it, and as soon as you get into there is where the train depot is for... And this is, I think, like industrial grain and stuff like that. We'll take a look when we get further in.
The darkness that was pursuing me was growing stronger, and it was taking over everything in its path.
I don't have time for this. There we go. Okay. I mean, I don't have the health for that. Let's wait and get our... You know what? Since it's stuck inside there, let's go ahead and take these out before we leave. At least this way we can take advantage of the architecture of the room to avoid taking damage. Dick. Okay, we're good. Oh, so, cool little thing. This isn't Alan Wake Illuminated, but apparently there is a cut piece, a scenario I don't know if it was supposed to be in this section, but it was at some point in the game where Alan actually has to ride on top of a speeding train, jumping from train cart to train cart, and eventually the train tracks run out of space where it was no longer built and it would collapse off the side of a cliff and he has to jump off the safety. But again, cut from the game. I think that, honestly, I think it's probably for the best, because that would have been way too action hero-y, if you know what I mean. Nightmare difficulty manuscript.
Even after all this time, hearing the Night Springs theme caused a surge of conflicting emotions in me. It'd been my first real writing gig. Barry had known a guy who knew a guy, and suddenly I'd been a semi-regular writer on the show. I'd always been ashamed of the job. Felt it was trash. I'd wanted to be an artist, a novelist. I'd been naive back then. It had taken a long time to learn to be proud of the work.
Mm-hmm. So in the survival guide, Alan claims that he wrote the pilot for the new series of Night Springs. Now, when this new series aired is kind of up for question.
I slammed the door shut right in his smug face. He pleaded for me to open the door. True to form, the asshole actually thought I would obey. I had no sympathy left, no guilt either, not for him. I took a moment to savor the scream. I bet I had a smile on my face. It was all that I had time for. The dark presence was inside the lodge with me.
Actually, I didn't think about that, Sergeant Army. That's a good point. Yeah, it's like the that one section in the Control DLC for the Foundation where Jesse's jumping back and forth between the train cars. Yeah, Swift platform. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. They probably took the ideas they had for that and just incorporated it in.
To get interested in writing. Stephen King had been a source of inspiration to me. I thought about all the inanimate objects that had come to life in his books. No one is safe in a good horror story. Certainly not the protagonist. That's what makes them fun. This was anything but. The darkness could possess anything, and it was getting closer.
Okay. Let's get some more Thermos lore. Maybe we find out more about Agent Cooper. Who knows? Alrighty, so this one is on page 112. There we go. Yeah. The thermos on the pallets in the storage yard was an eye-opener. There were signs of a fight. Some bright spark had fired bullets into some of the pressurized gas canisters. So this is literally just teaching you, like, hey, you can blow those up. It's a wonder no one was killed, or somebody's skillful at hiding bodies. As for the phantom thermos conjurer of Bright Falls, we're no closer to finding the culprit. Okay. And it makes sense that they didn't find any bodies because, as taken, they just disappear. So yeah, these are the gas canisters you can blow up. Evidence of Alan's fights are obviously all around the place because you have spent bullet cartridges, among other things. Alright, let's do this.
Did you call 911?
Back the shit up. I don't have time for your shenanigans. Oops, wrong one. That's the one I wanted. Hey, about part 3 of the streams, loving them, but notice the Discord link shows invalid. Oh, yes, Beranger, that's because I set up the Discord links to expire after 7 days, and I've been copying the description, so I haven't updated it. What I can do is update the link on this one, but you'll have to give me like 10 minutes after the fact, after the stream closes for me to do the update. So if you refresh in like a half an hour, you should see an updated one. Alright guys, you ready for your favorite TV show?
We take the facts of our existence for granted, unaware that they are merely a thin veneer of desperate self-delusion, covering a vast cosmos of madness and horror. All too often, the stars are right. In Night Springs. Tonight's episode, A Family Occasion. Journalist Alvin Derleth's trip to study the local insular community in Night Springs has been less than successful. Until tonight.
Well, I'm glad you changed your minds about this. Ancient customs, local mythology. My editor loves this kind of stuff.
Well, Mr. Derleth, we don't want to feel like we're on exhibition. But you
And yes, that's Alice's voice actress.
Oh, I am serious. Really, just do your thing. I'll stay out of your way and observe.
Actually, I thought you could assist us. I'm afraid we are a man short. It would provide you with an intimate perspective.
Could I really?
Of course, Mr. Derleth.
Well, I guess that's the least I... What would I have to do?
Oh, here. Let me show you with a kiss. Oh, Mr. Derleth, you have well pleased Nixie Perka, the dweller in flesh. Your body shall host his 1,000 young, and all shall be glory. Shh, darling, be calm. Shh.
Alvin Derleth learned a harsh lesson. If you go looking for mythology, it may come looking for you. And such quests always bear fruit. Night Springs.
God damn, halfway through that I was wondering if I was on the wrong side of the hub for a second. Shit! So this one, this episode, weirdly enough, probably has the most potential relevance for the RCU. Because yeah, the whole joke about Nixie Perka, I think it has to do with like a magazine out in Finland or something like that. But the title of the 1,000 Young, yes, it's directly referencing Shub-Niggurath, the 1,000 Young, which translates as the Black Goat of 1,000 Young. There's also a title for it known as the All-Mother, and one of the features of Shub is that it feeds its milk to people and turns them into demons/monsters. So you have the All-Mother that feeds milk and turns them into monsters, and then in Control at the ordinary AWE, we have the Not Mother who feeds milk and turns them into monsters. So you have the All-Mother versus the Not Mother. I would almost argue that Nixie Perka and the Not Mother are literally mirror reflections of each other on opposite sides of the mirror. One's all, one's the opposite. They're literally polar opposites in a sense. Yeah, so, and dung monkeys, yes. So when the Not Mother feeds the milk, they turn them into dung monkeys. When Shub feeds the milk, it turns them into a different type of demon in Lovecraft's lore. So you could make the argument that there is a narrative echo between this episode of Night Springs and what happened in Ordinary. Which is freaking psych. Like, it's nuts. But this is why I make a big stink about every single piece of fiction in a Remedy game. Because stuff like this foreshadow... I wouldn't say it foreshadows because they obviously hadn't written Control at the point in time. They hadn't decided on that backstory. But they draw upon stuff from previous pieces of in-game fiction to use in later games. Meaning you can predict things based upon what you learned from Night Springs. Which is freaking cool. Same thing with all the things in Max Payne. All the TV shows in Max Payne. Lords and Ladies and Address Unknown. Captain Baseball Bat Boy. Pay attention to them.
The darkness surged towards me, sucking everything loose from the ground into its depths, tugging at my clothes. I saw the flare the kidnapper had dropped and threw myself towards it just as I felt my feet leave the ground. The darkness embraced me with the force of a tornado. Somehow I managed to light the flare. The darkness roared and cast me away. I fell toward the dark waters of the lake far below.
Okay, foreshadowing for the end of the episode. And drop out. Alright. We have 3 flare guns, 1 more of the U. Let's go to town. This is what I was saving this for. Oh shit! Okay, for starters, let's drop one of you. Toss that. Oh god, stay away from me. And then just spam the shit out of our flare guns. Okay, we're good. We're about to lose all of our ammo anyway, so there's really no point in saving it. You dildo, stay away from me. Okay, as much as I'd love to go grab stuff from those boxes, there's really no need. Oh, and if anyone doesn't want to fight this thing, you can literally just run over here, activate this, and just immediately escape. And end the chapter without even defeating the bulldozer. If you really wanted to. Alright, so geographically speaking, we are in the middle of a train depot for industrial use. So we have logging that's being shipped around, obviously. But there's also grain silos that are set up here. Okay, we got one more piece of coffee lore, and then we are done. Okay, so this is page 113, which is the very next one. We're good. There we go. It was stuck between the foundation and metal footings of the grain silo by the train depot exit. A few of the team got drafted over to Rain Cove Point. Apparently, there's some kind of disturbance going on over there. Remember how I keep talking about how a piece of cut content is the cabin, the bird's leg cabin suddenly appeared over at Rain Cove Point? They're probably getting called because of that incident right here. So even though it's cut content, it's likely that, hey, it's still happening off camera, so to speak. Apparently some kind of disturbance going on over there. Meanwhile, I'm scouring the earth looking for non-existent patterns in plastic thermos placement. What gives? Alright, guys. That's about it. Now we have a truck from Lightfall's Power. Let's head on out. Trailblazer, I have a video on Death Rally if you want to check out the lore. It's in the most
I had
complete
never been this
playlist.
glad to see the sunrise. I had a couple of hours to get to the coal mine. The coal mine wasn't far now. Today, I would meet the kidnapper, and he would give me Alice. I wouldn't give him any other choice. A drowning man will clutch at a straw.
Alright, guys. So, there is a lot we're going to be able to talk about this as soon as we start on Friday. Because there's a lot happening elsewhere in town at this very moment, so we may get like a half an hour into the stream before we even start playing the game again, to be 100% honest. But we're going to stop here because it seems like a perfectly good place to end. And then we will pick this up in a couple days and continue onwards. Sorry, I had a mute there. Just had a sneeze. But thank you all for hanging out. I do have some more notes here from learning from you guys and your input while we play this, which I appreciate. And it will all go into the script when I sit down and write the most complete lore of this game for the whole series. Anyways, take it easy. I will go ahead and update the Discord link, so refresh it in a half an hour if you want to jump in from there. And that's about it for tonight. You all have a good rest of the week, and have a good night.